And I will say this about the Browns. That offensive line, Kyle, there is a play.
Wyatt Teller?
22 yards of pancake.
Wyatt Teller?
22 yards.
He's a bad boy.
He had dude from Cincinnati riding public transportation for 66 feet and buried him.
I love that
in the red zone.
No white cheese in the club.
They were in the shot zone.
He makes me want to
and
play
the
again.
kid woke up in the red zone.
I ain't got me nobody. I ain't got me no. I got the green light, baby.
NFL Week 1, baby.
Let's go.
Yeah, dude.
Football's back.
We
Felt
made
good.
it.
Felt good. I walked outside during the 4 p.m.s for a second. And it was beautiful outside. And I think this is the day where, like, most people are indoors and have no idea what's going on outside. I really could have used a break yesterday. 7 straight hours of football. You got to be in shape for that. It's Week 1. I'm going to say hello to Vegas because my locks were 3-0. And until the site crashed, I was doing really well. I think I was doing so well yesterday. The site crashed on me. I have no idea whether I'm up or down at the end of the Sunday.
It's a rigged game.
Yeah, I don't know which way's up right now.
It's a rigged game.
I know. So I want to say hello to Vegas, a little wink and a nod to Vegas. And then layup line today, above the clouds, Gangstar. Going to commercial in Pittsburgh, they played Mass Appeal. The guys in the Fox TV truck, always hitting home runs, man. They play a lot of My
Is that
Morning
Santos?
Jacket.
Is that Joel Santos?
Yeah,
and
I
his
think
boys?
it is. Yeah.
Shout out to Joel.
Yeah, so I wanted to give a layup line to our guys, Gangstar, Primo, friend of the program.
Primo's the man.
He is the man, dude. Guys, little America's teams to kick this thing off. What do you say?
This is my favorite fucking segment.
I know
I've been
it is.
waiting
So
all
I'm
offseason for
I'm
this
gonna
shit.
I'm gonna let you go.
Okay, number one. How can you not go without saying the Dallas Cowboys? So we're not swearing. This is an early mistake. Week 1, it happens. Dallas Cowboys.
No, we can swear.
Dallas Cowboys number 1, guys. Don't make it complicated. Their quarterback was sedated last week for a 12-hour,
11 hours.
full
dude.
body tattoo.
There was a guy who had a spinal reconstruction in that game last night who was under for less time than Dak Prescott.
You want to talk about commitment to the cause? Dak trying to do things, go places that no man has ever gone, and this defense is going places where no man has ever gone. Last night was just unbelievable. The Cowboys are flying around. It kind of looked like the Texas Rangers, the way they're just out there eliminating bad guys in Texas.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 2, America's team, the Texas Longhorns.
They're in New
Okay.
York, though.
You know what? You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The Rangers, they
They
travel everywhere.
travel.
They are on horseback,
Yeah, yeah.
and they have 6 shooters.
We got a problem in New York. I'll be
Repeating
there in
arms
4
fires.
days.
The Texas Longhorns, number 2. I will say that I put money on Alabama. Kate and I, my lovely wife, and I elected to put $200 on the Alabama Crimson Tide because for listeners of this show, Alabama was on my America's team last year.
It's so funny to me. You waited so long to bet, and then you just picked the most public team in the biggest game of the weekend.
It was fun.
No, it was fun, and I loved hearing you were into gambling.
It was
I
fun.
loved it, and now that I know your wife's into gambling a little bit, actually, my wife this weekend on Saturday
They're
night
competitive.
walked in the room, was like, "You're supposed to teach me about gambling." 5 minutes later, she walked out. She couldn't figure out why the plus team is the team that is actually catching points.
Makes sense.
So there was a lot of issues with explaining gambling to my wife.
Let me get to the Texas Longhorns here.
Okay.
The number 2 America's team on my list. And I am obsessed with their fucking quarterback, Quinn Ewers. I was watching this guy throw coming out of high school. You know, you see these guys on Instagram or whatever at passing camps, and he's got that unique slot with his arm that you see with guys like Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, quick release, extremely athletic and strong arm. He threw some deep balls that were unbelievable. Texas Longhorns, going to be a lot of fun to watch. If Arch Manning's on the sideline, that means somebody really good is on the field. Number 3, the San Francisco 49ers.
You're like Gary Payton when he got to the Lakers, like just a little too late to get on Bama. Like the wrong place, wrong time.
It's
Sounded
okay.
like the right thing to do.
It's
You
okay.
and Karl Malone.
It's okay.
That's funny.
You
That's
know?
good.
I was-
That's like I left Kansas City right before they won the Super Bowl.
I didn't want to make that joke. He went
It happens.
to Kansas City the
It
year
happened.
they played.
Number 3,
The
San
Bengals.
Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
That's how a white man runs the football.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Christian
Yeah.
McCaffrey, dude.
Yeah.
Nate, don't ever tell me that white guys are not as athletic as
No.
black guys.
Christian McCaffrey definitely holds it down. And if anyone ever makes that argument with you, if you throw that guy into the equation, there's not really much.
So we had Hunter
It's
Renfro for a
unbelievable.
couple years.
Remember in Pop Warner, there was always that kid that was just football IQ better than everybody,
Yes.
a little bit more athletic.
Helmet
it
looks
still
big.
looks like Christian McCaffrey is that guy in the
yeah,
NFL.
yeah.
Number 3, San Francisco 49ers, top to bottom, best roster in the NFL. Number 4, the Colorado Buffalo.
Not a lot of white guys on that defense. though.
Deion Sanders, except for one,
You're trying to think.
Nick Bosa.
Nick Bosa, yeah.
You ever heard of him?
Yeah.
He's pretty good at football.
Yeah.
When he was off the field,
We need our one Caucasian.
when he was off the field, the Steelers gained yards, and when he was
Yeah.
on the field, they didn't. That
He's
was
in
the-
Palm Beach.
that
Just
was
give him
the fucking
170
formula.
million.
Yeah, 3 buckets.
Number
Leading-
4, the Colorado Buffaloes, man. The culture change immediately has been so much fun to watch.
How quickly did Shedeur Sanders get really into the Buffalo? He got there like in July,
As
and
we
he's
all
like,
are.
I don't like how Matt Rule and Nebraska were disrespecting the Buffalo. I don't play about the Buffalo.
Did he make up some comments that Matt Rule said?
I think Rule said something on a
About
podcast.
his
Like
dad.
Rule legitimately said something about Dion.
Because you know all the greats, they make up beef. Like
So
MJ
good for
used
them,
To, MJ
dude.
used to make up beef.
I like Shedeur Sanders.
I love him.
You know, I liked
I
when he
love
said, "I don't." You know, a lot of people looked at him saying, "I don't look at the name on the jersey. I just play," as like being this arrogant thing. But I think it's humility. It's what you want to hear from your quarterback. Like, we're not going to be intimidated the whole thing. And then the next week, I was watching and I was like, "Oh, this era of college football is here. The playerman and power era is here. I don't respect this program, and I got a problem with Matt Rule." It's like usually you'd have to check with your SID
Yes.
before you got up there and said something like that. They have the juice.
It's
They
like
have the
WWF.
power. It is. It's like the wrestling era.
It's
I love
amazing.
it.
When Dion pulled up at the fucking stadium
Yeah.
with him and Constance Schwartz, they pulled
Mhm.
up in the golf cart, the golf carts, a fleet of lifted
Yeah,
golf
it's pretty
carts,
cool.
and he hopped out. It was like when Tiger arrived at Augusta
Yeah.
for his final round of the Masters when he
Yeah.
won going away. It was like a gladiatorial entrance.
Yeah.
And kudos to Dion for, at the end of the day, just getting 2 toes amputated. He looks great moving around.
Yeah, he does. He's moving well with 8
look
digits down there on the.
Yeah, he doesn't
on
look
the
like
dog.
He
it's
keeps it 8
affecting
toes
him.
down.
That shit's
8 toes
crazy,
down.
but like another notch under.
Somebody
his
said
goat
10
belt.
toes down around him in an interview, and it was funny. He was like, wait. But he's like the Christian McCaffrey of ranchers in like the Yellowstone bracket.
And that's the look now.
Because he's going all into this John Dutton thing.
The
It's like,
white hat.
Yeah, he's breaking the trend.
How
and I
many
love
cowboy
it.
hats are being sold on campus?
Like
Like everybody wants the Dion
Yeah.
stuff.
Stetson making a lot of money. out
So
there.
my number 5 America's team, the Denver Broncos. They fucking started the season off with an onside kick.
Well,
Okay,
that's one way to get rid of Russell Wilson is tank for Caleb Williams.
I am all in on rooting for the Denver Broncos. Reed, okay. Frank Clark was jumping snaps, getting a couple.
Let's just talk
offsides.
about the game right now, Reed. I mean, Reed is so funny. I call him Sideshow Bob in the 4 p.m. because we have 7 TVs. We'll all be watching some other game every Sunday, and all of a sudden you hear just this outburst from, and he's watching the top half, the tiny little screen, and it's the Broncos and whoever, it's God's team.
It was rough. At first, I was very into Russell's performance, and then I looked back at Week 1 last year. So yesterday, Russell was 27 of 34, 177 yards and 2 touchdowns. We scored 16 points. We lost. Week 1, 2022, Russell was 24 of 31, 247 yards, 2 touchdowns. Broncos scored 16 points and lost in overtime.
Yeah, the points are a problem.
Shout out to Pat Surtain though.
Oh,
Shout out to Pat Surtain.
he allowed 2 receptions
He's
for like
voted
11
by
yards
coaches
by
and players
Devontae.
as the baddest man in the land. At his
This was the
position.
flyover game for me. I got to be honest. I didn't see a lot of this.
So
game.
I know leading up to the game last year, Devontae Adams said he's not there yet when talking about Pat Surtain, and Surtain was, rightfully so pissed. And then obviously in the matchup, he goes out and shows out. Those are the matchups that I love.
He's not coming. He's
I live
here.
for the middle of the road teams with above elite matchups
Yeah.
like those guys.
Mm-hmm. No, I was just thinking of I'm not coming, I'm here joke.
I'm gonna come. Do not come.
I'm here.
Do not come.
If you go early in Boulder and you're on that team, you got a line.
Yeah,
I'm not coming, I'm here, babe.
I'm already here.
Here.
I think we got to keep going, though.
Here.
I don't think we want to hang here very long.
Okay.
All right.
That was
America's
enough
team.
for the Broncos. Yeah, we're good. We're on to Week 2.
Enough on the
Chris's
Colorado
America's
teams.
teams.
Is my America's teams?
Yes.
All right, Reed, I'll give you a tip of the cap because you could use one. I'll give JMU an America's team.
Jeez, I
You
didn't
know,
know. it was
Talk
gonna
about a
happen.
great damn game, though.
You know,
Like,
we went to
score-
that lightning delay
That-
for an
that
hour and a
part's tough.
half. And then you guys got to do something which isn't really fair, and that's make adjustments. I don't think that's fair at all.
Yeah,
I
fourth
think
quarter
both teams should have
adjustments.
been isolated like jury duty and then just run back out and play. Like there should, that's an unfair
much time.
advantage, making adjustments.
You're right, and the UVA fans totally should have come back to the stadium.
But you got a good
they
team. I
lose
like
a
that
lot.
running back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it empty after the delay?
Dude, the UVA fans did not come back afterwards.
Come
I
on,
didn't
guys.
say it. Come on, guys. I didn't say it. You know how I feel.
Wahoo! Whoa!
Wahoo.
Get back in the stadium.
Yeah, exactly. Wahoo was. There's still time in the game.
What the fuck are you guys doing?
Yeah. All right. I want to give this. I was going to give one to Texas. You gave it to Texas.
They deserve
already.
it.
Texas, if they are truly one of America's teams, it's going to be good for college football. And I love the fact, and I can't wait to ask Stanford Steve this. Who's going to be a powerhouse in the next 5 years that we're not thinking about? Because a year or two ago, we wouldn't have thought Texas. And we had Sark on the show. Really happy for him. Seems like a good guy to play for. And Texas, after the game, SEC's not ready for us. Guys mugging up to the camera. Yeah, that's
There's
like,
a lot of that going on.
Whoa,
I'm like,
buddy.
Chill the fuck out.
Yeah, just calm down. I'll give it to Colorado as well. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yes.
Because holy shit, they're trying to win games.
Yeah.
They're trying to
Physical
win
quarterback.
They could be a lot of fun. I want to shout out Baker Mayfield because we assume we know the script, but the script could entail them winning 7 games this year and not drafting Caleb Williams at all. And then it's the Baker Mayfield era. I don't think so necessarily. Guy's been on like 4 teams the last 3 years,
and he's
won his opener.
He's 4-1
in 3 of those situations. Because everybody remembers the Rams situation last year. Cleveland, I remember them beating the Jets. We were out to dinner, me and the D-line for the Eagles, and I'll never forget his first start.
The Tyrod Taylor game.
Yeah, the first play, the first cup or whatever it was. He played pretty well that
He's
night.
like the guy that has the best outfit on day 1 of school every year.
Yes, he's ready. Also, he started a foundation. I want to shout Baker Mayfield's foundation out. I like Baker Mayfield.
He seems like a dude I'd want to have.
I'd want to have a beer
or
with
20.
Baker Mayfield. Okay, yeah, definitely would be 20. Yeah, I want to give a shout out to the folks at YouTube TV, one of America's teams.
Yes.
That was a great experience yesterday.
Oh, the multi.
Awesome.
I feel like we're going to pretty soon be like, are you watching that game on TV? Like I think
have
we're
a
almost
radio?
there, dude. Yeah, you have a disc man?
My phone gets hot. Because yesterday I missed my flight.
Yeah.
And I had to drive
Yeah.
from New York. And
Yeah.
my phone was hot. It was
Yeah.
plugged into that little USB thing.
The sun was shining on it?
At first, I thought there was like some kind of magnifying glass reaction from the windshield. But
Yeah.
it was
just
my
the phone. And they also have these Zen commercials, which at first I was like, get this bullshit out of here. I'm trying to get some dopamine.
Zen
here.
pause.
Zen as in
Zen,
calmness,
Zen.
not the
Not Zen. Not
Yeah.
Zen. I don't need
You were
an
looking for
advertisement
nicotine.
for that. But they just put up these little like naturescapes, and then everybody was sweating, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and all of a sudden you're staring at a hummingbird for 2 minutes. It's just what everybody needs, honestly. Because one thing I learned this weekend, or it was reinforced to me, is like I hate football season for one reason. I got to interact with a bunch of football fans on Twitter, and they all know football better than us. And so, people need to calm the fuck down. Everybody's so confrontational around this time of year. Like we're all on talk TV and we're competing. Just
We're hanging
relax.
out,
And
talking
what a way to-
football.
And on Sunday, relax, catch a naturescape and chill the fuck out. All right, and last one, the World Cup, not the World Cup team, the Olympic team. Well, no, I want to give it to the World Cup team because they lost, and we wouldn't have the 2024 Olympic team, which is going to include LeBron
Was that
James.
the FIBA? Is that
without
FIBA?
Yeah, FIBA, whatever it is, FIBA. I should know because Tommy Alter's bitch ass had to move the draft because of FIBA.
Every year it's something with Tommy.
It's something with Tommy Alter. There's more on that fantasy football league coming later in mentions. That's something spicy. Okay.
So those were America's teams. Nate, what do you have for these guys? Who won? Who is the better final America's team? Do you have any to add?
If I was to add, I would say my old team, Jacksonville, Duval. They pulled out a tight, close game. What was it, 20-21 versus
No,
31-21.
31-21.
Oh,
The cover was
31-21.
intact. Great teams
Yeah.
cover. I almost made them America's team for that. It was close, too.
It was real close.
Oh, it was close.
It was real close.
Do you want to just hit that game right now?
Yeah,
Anthony
absolutely.
Richardson. Here's what I'm going to say about Anthony Richardson. They got something there. Okay, if you're a Colts fan, you wake up this morning, you got to be pretty excited. And I was on record this spring saying, hey, if you're going to pick a quarterback out of this draft, I'm going with the upside. I'm going with Anthony Richardson. So I'd love to be right. And I do think, they need to surround him with more talent. The guys they have, they're big targets, but they don't really have anybody dynamic. And obviously, Jonathan Taylor's sitting at home. And I'm kind of wondering if Jonathan Taylor's sitting at home, he's like, bro, my whole career it's been Carson Wentz, old Matt Ryan.
Let me get it together.
Maybe I should, I don't know.
Suck it up. Let me try this out. Let me try this out, and if it works, let it ride and see what it does.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, I'll be back on my bullshit after the season. But I think seeing that first game, and if you're a player and you're someone on that team,
You want to be a part of that.
you're
There's something going on there.
We got you're gonna slowly become the team again that no one wants to play.
Yeah.
Like how they were with Andrew Luck. It's not a team that you maybe fear, but you're like, fuck.
But no, I mean, as a defender, when you've got a quarterback and get the quarterback run game like that, it's a long day at the office. There's something to think about every play.
Yep.
And my only thing would be, listen, he had to leave the game late with a knee bruise. Now he's like, it's just a knee bruise. I'm 6'6".
He went down
260
so hard.
pounds. Okay. But guys are out there trying to tattoo him.
Yep.
When he's in the open field, he's going to get your hardest hit. Now I know he's a brick of concrete, but you got to be careful about how you run this guy. You know what I mean? And then on the other side of things, Calvin Ridley, member of Bed Bath and Bijan, he went off. I mean, the connection between him and Trevor Lawrence is really good. Tank Bigsby made some mistakes, but also helped us out on the back end of that cover. I thought that the run game was horrendous for the Colts. And another thing with Jonathan Taylor, I think their EPA was minus 0.462, which is not good, Bob. ETN had a good day running downhill. Wasn't a lot to report other than I wanted to see what Anthony Richardson looked like, and I was excited. If you're a Colts fan, you're waking up this morning, you're excited.
He was competing. He was giving them a chance offensively, and even at the end of the game when they're down, the game's over.
Yeah.
And you're like, is he going to come out? Are they going to keep him in?
Yeah.
He's still running down there and throwing his hat into things, and I'm kind of wincing watching it. Like you were saying, get down.
Let me ask you this. At this point in his career, I don't remember Justin Fields' first start, but I mean, I got to feel like this guy's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
With all the excitement that we've created with Justin Fields, and we'll get to that game in a little bit, and maybe Bears fans that were chirping me about, hey, we need to hold on to that capital at the end of the year, are right. I don't want to overreact. This is not Overreaction Monday.
Oh, it is.
But I do. Yeah, for you, it might be. but with Anthony Richardson, I mean, if he can. He already looks like he picks things up in that offense as a passer that I didn't expect he would.
Yep.
And when I look back last week at rookie quarterbacks, their first game over the past couple of years, a lot of it really came down to, even if it was a good player that looked bad the first game, usually comes down to who the coordinator is. I mean, obviously Zach Wilson looked like Zach Wilson when I went back and looked, but he was in a bad offense too, and you could see that. Trevor Lawrence is out there throwing the ball 140 times in a month. That's Urban Meyer. Shane Spikeman is a ball coach, man. And I think he's picked up some when they say, hey, this kid's going to start week 1, everybody was like, all right, what gives?
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, he's 20. Yeah. What are we doing?
He's going to be all right.
Yeah,
he is.
He's going to be all right.
Yeah.
And the game is changing so much where a quarterback like that who can rely on his physical talents is going to be able to take over football games.
Yep. And the Jags did win me some cash, so I want to with that having been said, I want to get into a live ad read. This is just like your friends on the radio. And I love doing this, man, just breezing through an ad read. I don't like sitting here and reading it. I want you to feel the energy and the juice. This is Monday morning. Thanks to Cash App for sponsoring this podcast with multiple tools for saving, spending, and sending. Cash App is an all-in-one way to stay in control of your money. But what happens when life takes an unexpected turn and you find yourself losing control? Kyle, Gary Payton. I have a quick story for you. The other day I get home from work and the house has no internet. This is true. and I'm trying to finish some prep work for the show, and I want to listen to some music while I do it, but I can't connect to the Wi-Fi, can't watch any football film or stream any music. So pretty bad day. We get it fixed. The internet is back, but that is losing control. It happens. Bottom line is I can't control the internet or the water going out this summer. It was actually the plumbing, Reed. But what I can control is my money. A great way to stay in control of your life and to stay in control of your finances is Cash App. So download Cash App in the App Store or in Google Play to see why it's the #1 finance app in the U.S. App Store. I just want to say this, guys. The internet went out last night. I slept here. That's how much I love this job. Okay, I was up till 4 a.m. sleeping on Reed's couch up there. I was like, where the fuck am I?
Little spoon, big spoon.
No, it was just me. It was just
Pillow,
me.
the pillow though. You
I
little
sent
spoon,
Reed
the pillow.
home last night.
And was there a cash? There's no Cash App transaction.
There's no Cash App transaction. That's Zelle. Okay, Cash App's good, clean fun.
Okay, what's the rate, Reed?
It's high.
The callback though, I like Reed. I like your callback to this summer when the plumbing went out at my place in Montana, and I had to go take a dump down in the shop, which was.
I thought you were going to say the lake.
No, not an aqua dump. Maybe it would have been a good idea, but anyways, get down there. It's about 200 yards from the house. You know where it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's down a hill, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I realized I don't have any toilet paper. So
Rolling green lawn.
I had to do the Jalen waddle up to the house. So thank you, Cash App, for bringing up those two stories. Well, I did it. Guys, the marquee breakdowns of the week. These are the games that the fans will be happy. We will spend more time on these games. Maybe if you're a Bengals fan, you're like, nah, you can skip it. But I'm going to talk about the Bengals, and I'm going to talk about them in a couple minutes. First, I'm going to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles and the Patriots. And I think this game's really interesting because we come into it and we're talking about the trends in gambling. I don't want to talk about gambling the whole show, but there are some things to glean here. There's a lot of metrics that show don't bet Super Bowl losers week 1. Okay, and it was almost a trend that continued. You know, that hangover of that long march and then coming up short and a lot to defend. I mean, you think about it, like Bill Belichick has a month or more. He's got the whole offseason to game plan for Jalen Hurts. And I think, I think they did a good job. I think they kept the points down, honestly. They took away the middle of the field. Dallas Goedert really didn't get any action. The Eagles stayed with it, though. And I would say this. The Patriots might be okay. I don't want to overreact here, but Mac Jones looked more like Mac Jones. The one pick in the rain, ball's a little high. I'm not excusing it. And I'm not holding him to the standard that I would like a top 5 quarterback. But what you need up there is decent quarterback play, and I think he can give you that.
I thought he was better than decent.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you can rely on Mac Jones and Bill O'Brien to come out with an offense that looks like that every week, you're going to have a chance to win some games, particularly with that defense.
Well, it's not the way you want to play. You're down 16-0. You spot the Eagles, 16 points, a team who could run for 250 yards any game.
Look like an inside run period.
Yeah, it's raining out there, the whole thing, and Bill's in his element, dude. He loves being wet.
He had the towel around his neck. They kept showing him like
he looked like he's just covered in ooze.
Looked like when a dog is sitting in the lawn just staring out at something. Like every time they panned to him, he was just looking out into the distance, taking in the rain, like through the lights. You watch the rain fall.
He loves it. he loves it, man. So he was in his element. But the Philly D-line took this game over. And there's some nice pieces on that New England defense, and we'll talk about them. But the Philly D-line, 29 plays in the fourth quarter. You want to talk about having to, because I watched every play last night, 79 plays I think the Pats had on offense. And this is the type of game where it helps to have a platoon, and especially the guys inside. The guys inside played their fucking asses off. We'll start with the young guys. I thought Milton Williams, who I really like, the kid from Louisiana Tech, had some great rushes. He had a great TFL where he popped outside the tackle and just knifed the running back down. He got out on an edge and showed a little stuff in a pressure where he had to loop out and beat a tackle. The kid can play. Jalen Carter is going to be Defensive Rookie of the Year. I said that before the season. Somebody told me that he was the best player on that defense in camp.
Can I give a call back to when Aaron Donald was a rookie?
Yeah.
Chris called me. I was in camp, and he said, we got this kid named Aaron Donald.
Yeah, you might want to.
He goes, he's the best defensive lineman I've ever seen in my life. And I said, I was in the O line.
What day
room.
is this? Like the third day of camp?
It was like Wednesday, and I was in the O
We
line
were in
room with
underwear.
Matt Slauson and Bushrod. They were like, "Oh shit!" And then I was like, "I guess it's true. It's, we're gonna watch." And then AD. So Jalen Carter, here comes your next prediction.
Jalen Carter, and it's like they didn't watch any of his preseason snaps. He's a really smart player. He sets up that inside move. I mean, he beat them over and over like a drum with that inside move. When a 3 tilts down on the guard and widens a little bit, the guard doesn't realize the track is taking that player to his inside shoulder. But if you play with that alignment, you get him to overset you, and he doesn't even know he's oversetting you because you're on a tilt.
So
smart.
you're saying guys are usually pointed straight up the field from their 3-tech alignment.
Yeah.
So when Jalen Carter tilts towards the guard,
and they're all smart, like smart 3-techs do.
And
that.
as a guard, I'm thinking that's Jalen Carter. He's gonna beat me speed to power on the outside. So you're gonna want to take good set. Next thing you know, Jalen Carter is going inside.
He's really good at that inside move, man, that hump by, and he's strong enough to hump people by. And the guy's rotating in the fourth quarter. I mean, Carter was dominant. Jordan Davis shared a sack. Milt Williams, I mentioned him. And I want to give a big shout out to my boy Fletcher Cox. When you're an older player in the league and you've been the guy, okay, he's still hell on wheels. But when I was there,
I can vouch for this.
Fuck Kyle. It was like a force of nature. And now you're a little bit older. They want you to play less plays. That can be tough. It can challenge your ego. They want him to be a leader. They want him to rotate in. There's probably some snaps that he wants to be on the field. I've been there.
But he's going to maximize his opportunities.
But he's a lifetime Eagle. He's got a great legacy that he's leaving behind and finishing strong. However long that runway is, finishing strong, saying, fuck it. I, as a competitor, might want to be out there all the time, but when I get my opportunities, I'm going to make the most of it. In that fourth quarter at 22-14, they have a chance to tie that game with a 2-point conversion. In one series, Fletch has a great rush inside. Then he's got a huge run stuff. I'm talking about I don't know if it was a tackle or the guard. I think it was the guard up off his feet, stuffs the run. And then 4th and 4 with the game on the line. When you just made a play like that and your adrenaline is pumping, you feel like you're playing with house money to go win a rush and pressure Mac Jones and cause him to throw that ball away and think, hey, I might have just won this team the game. And truth be told, you learn by example in the NFL. And when those young guys see Fletcher Cox doing the right things and then just taking his medicine when he doesn't get opportunities, but then at the end of the game going to win those rushes and make those plays, fucking hats off to that dude.
And to drive that point home, you saw Josh Jobe on the sideline. He makes that play, he defends the ball, and then gets up and is about to flex and potentially get that 15. Yeah. Josh Jobe is over and is about to get that 15-yard penalty. Flex jumps in and he's like, "Stop! Hey. Don't do that. We don't.
Come on, son.
We don't do that."
But that's the kind of vet presence you need, man. And that's a really good group. And the right tackle for the Patriots, eventually it became a problem. But for the most part, that's a well-coached group, and they kept it together. And the second level, if I had any gripes with the Eagles, the linebackers, like Ellis is going to be a little bit of a guy that you're gonna hear at the wrong times, and Nakobe Dean looked good from what I saw, but Slay, huge pick six. I mean, like you talk about keeping the points down. The unfortunate thing is back-to-back plays. You had the pick six and the Zeke fumble.
What an athletic play to bring that thing all the way back.
Well, the most athletic play I saw him make he got stemmed inside against Kendrick Bourne, and on the right sideline, Bourne had like 15 yards on him. Ball goes in the air and Slay, like Willie Mays, just blind running.
He's just so good.
I mean, he's just a really good player.
Great dude.
Yeah, and Slay seems like a lot of fun. But, the question I would have is, where is Dallas Goedert? I know New England is equipped and partial to taking away the middle of the field. Juergens looked really good. Okay, Juergens looks like
finishing guys.
Yeah, he looks good, man. He looks athletic in there. And Kyle, you can speak to this.
He came walking like a cowboy back to the line of scrimmage a couple times, and I was like, "That's when motherfucker
got that walk.
Good. He got that big shoulder.
Got that walk. So let me ask you this: when you're playing guard, how does it help you to play between two Hall of Famers?
How does it help me to play between two Hall of Famers? I know that all I have to worry about is doing my technique the right way, and often you're in combination or conjunction with the guy next to you, and you can count on, without even taking without even blinking your eye, that right tackle is going to be in my hip, or the left tackle is going to be in my hip, or the center is going to be where where he's supposed to be. Yep. That's how you finish guys. Good blocks are how you start them and finish them, and when you have two guys on the same page, you're in a great spot.
And when you got three guys on the same page, because this guy's had a year to sit, he's learned from Kelsey, and now he's playing between two guys that, as I said earlier, are Hall of Famers. And, you know, watching them, not a lot of guys make them sweat.
The blueprint hasn't changed for them.
But I do want to say this Keon White kid is fucking – I cannot wait to see him develop. And I could be just getting gassed up
The numbers
here,
are going to be crazy.
but I don't see a lot of people making Lane sweat. And just for a player too, you know, like I think Lane was like, damn, this big son of a bitch here. He, you know, tried an inside move. Lane washed him by, but the pocket moves. Yeah. You know, another one, I don't see a lot of guys getting power on him. He walked Jordan Mailata back. Yep. So I'm not saying he won a bunch of rushes, but I've been kind of salivating over watching this kid, the big guy from Georgia Tech. He's like a throwback. And Barmore plays with great power. You don't see a lot of guys walking Landon Dickerson back. So New England, you've got an opportunity with a stout defense and an offense that, although they have no star power at wide receiver, you can work around these things and try to be competitive this year. Pats fans, dude, I'm watching the end zone tape. You're busted. You know, you see the scoreboard before every play when you watch end zone tape. And the last 2-3 series, motherfuckers are going to their cars. What happened? You got the ball at midfield with a chance to win this game at the end of the I mean, if that kid gets his feet down, we were going to lose that game.
Traffic is bad.
And you know what else? Bro. They came to watch Tom.
I guess
they
so.
came to watch Tom Brady run on the field one more time. Tommy!
In Nautica jeans. And a
Looked
jersey.
Great.
Which is a special moment. Looked like a special moment. You were getting a little hyped.
I was hyped, man. I love Tom Brady,
he did
bro.
the fist pump. He did the run out.
You can't help but love Tom Brady. I mean, like, you know,
think
some
Mac
people.
Jones was a little bit like, "Hey, fuck off."
No, yeah, no, I don't know. Go out and ruin their day.
Mac's like, "I'm gonna slide tackle him."
No, there was one really funny one where Mac had the slide and he tiptoed for 3 feet and then just like sat down because I think he's learned. I think he's learned that like
somebody spoke to him.
Eventually, John Randall's gonna beat him up in an alley. You know, he's gonna leave a restaurant. He's gonna leave. I don't know, what's that Italian restaurant down there in Patriot Place. He's going to leave that spot. And out there is going to be Bruce Smith and fucking Kevin Carter and all these.
And Dad.
For the brotherhood, bro. He's got it coming. So, yeah, no more of that slotting bullshit. And they did blitz Jalen on third down. I mean, and early downs when they needed it. They were at midfield and they needed to stop in a one-score game. And they blitzed him on first down and got a sack out of that. So, Bill definitely heated him up at the right times, because I think this was a win for the Patriots defense. If you just said, hey, we're going to hold them offensively
I think it's a win for the culture.
points or whatever it is, and a short field on another field goal or whatever it was, we can win that game. So just build on that.
And the offense can win them games too. I mean, they don't have to be sexy on the edges like you were alluding to. They don't have the guys.
Hunter Henry, nice day.
But that defense, with that game plan on offense, if Mac cannot lose them football games, they're going to win a lot of football games.
Yeah. Just can't shoot yourself in the foot. Can't do turnovers, fumbles, and Bill Belichick, he's a coach that historically they're going to get all that together within these first 4 weeks.
Well, they always get better.
And if not, and if people are going to if Zeke keeps fumbling like within his next 4 weeks, he'll be on the bench until the end of the year, or he'll be out of there.
No question.
So like they gave him a shot. He came back in, and the weather, you could blame it on the weather. But I think, like you said, like I don't think people are panicking and
no New England fans are gonna blame it on the weather, because as I know,
you're true.
They think it's an advantage. You know, when I went up there, you know, Bill walks around. He's got the Gatorade bottle. He's squirting water on the ball, just like Al Groh, our college coach. And it was funny yesterday. You're like, Coach Groh did that too. I'm like, where he got it from? Fucking Bill Belichick.
Shout out to Al Gigi.
And to talk about when there's a problem, they fix it. Like I'm doing a low light tape. Me and Bo. It's pretty funny actually. You should get in on this. But for YouTube, we're doing a series now actually where we do low lights. You know, guys want to show their highlights all the time. We find the worst plays of our career. One of them for me is my first playoff game ever up in New England, and these guys saw the play because we put it together. I'm playing in a 3 technique at 260, so I'm just tired of it. And when I got out there head up on the tight end on a rundown in the second quarter, I was like, I'm gonna make an athletic linebacker play. I'll show Bill. And I go to swim the tight end, and I beat the tight end, but what I didn't realize was Dwayne Brown was coming out to put a little shoulder into me, and both feet off the ground. The back of the head hit the turf first, and all I heard from the sound was, "Get him the fuck out of there!" And from that point on in the playoffs, I was a third down guy. But that's what they do. They take care of
I like
business.
that idea.
You know, I didn't like the first idea, which was
I can
sticking
show
me
the
inside.
back-to-back sacks I gave up to Julius Peppers.
Yeah.
My first day at
Yeah,
tackle
yeah.
ever.
Yeah. There's also some funny plays where you fall down and shit, like that sort of thing. There's a lot of good. There's some meat on the bones
2
there.
plays in a row, Chris.
But we're gonna call our buddies from around the league. Supposedly, we got a couple superstars that Bo knows that want to do it with us. So keep an eye out for that. Low lights. San Francisco, Pittsburgh, the other best team in the NFC. If we're not talking about, I don't mean to slight the Cowboys, but this is my Super Bowl pick. And watching this game out of the NFC, watching this game, I kind of wanted to change it back to Niners over Jets, not the other way around, because this defense has not lost a step. This defense looks almost better.
Makes me wonder what Nick Bosa's been doing. Just like
I don't know, dude. He just looks great.
Just
Like,
doing
guy's got
jumping
muscles
jacks.
on muscles. He hasn't even been in camp.
Push-ups.
For his conditioning to be so good, for him to look the way he looked yesterday, I mean, it kind of reinforces the fact that, like, holdouts are actually good for your body.
They're great,
right?
yeah.
Like,
Hell
holdouts can extend your life.
Hell
So,
yeah.
I mean, like-
especially someone like that where you have money, you can take time to really get your
Yeah.
body. You're
Yeah.
not going through, whether it's 2 days or not, still you're not going through 2 practices a
Yeah.
day
Yeah.
in the heat.
Yeah.
And also it's probably a lot less mentally draining. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I can let my agent, you know what, I'm getting up and I'm doing my shit every single day until my agent calls me and tells me it's time for me to go. And you know, if you have a schedule like that and you're just focusing on your body, that does a lot. Knowing that, hey, when the season starts, I'm going to be out there and I'm going to get the rush.
You're just not going to – it's the worst – the best you feel is the first day of OTAs or camp.
Oh,
And so,
that's
like,
it.
anything you can put in the bank is great. Now, the Steelers, defensively, they were getting gashed early. The linebackers were in a blender. You know, like Patrick Peterson, who I would give a hollow man to, but he's a friend of the program. I'll just stick it in the marquee breakdowns. And he knows. He's heard it already. Like, and this is part of the tough thing about having a podcast, because I could never do it. Like, only the greatest players can, like a Jason Kelsey, good. You want to have a podcast, great. You're going to grade out at 95 every week on Pro Football Focus. You know, and your team's really good. So for the most part, you're not going to get jammed up. Patrick Peterson on his podcast is like, I got some tips on Kenny Pickett. Or on Brock Purdy. And you know, I'm going to have a pick.
Tom Brady light.
And they get out there, and the first touchdown is Ayuk on a nice little route. And Patrick Peterson, who we talked about this on the pod, I was like, what kind of cleats you going to wear up there? Because that fescue up there, that Kentucky Bluegrass fescue cross up at Heinz Field, it's like a jungle out there.
Mm-hmm.
And he slips. They had a couple guys slip down. Deontay Johnson slipped, and I think there was a pick after that. So, you know, like, just not a good day for the Steelers from the beginning. I thought the energy was bad. You would have thought they were on the road. You know, it didn't feel like a home game for them.
It seemed to me like this would be a game that they would be so up for. It's
Well,
it's almost like where you're so up, you're like quiet.
That fooled me, because, like, this was the one, this was the mole for me on my Sunday slate. And I bought to 3 and took the Steelers, but it was apparent early that, you know, any trends that I went off, which was like the last 3 years, Mike Tomlin and the Steelers covered 3 times, including twice as dogs. They won outright. And then they covered against the Giants, and they were like touchdown favorites 3 years ago. So they always come out good as home dogs. They always come out good at home. They always come out good to open the season. It just didn't show up.
Black Air Force.
And Kenny Pickett was shaky. Kenny, yeah, we
Had them white John.
which we found out on the pod that some of them were spray painted. Kenny Pickett told us some of them were spray painted because they didn't have enough Black Air Force.
Imposters. Maybe they were imposters.
Yeah.
Maybe the team as a whole. It's
Yeah.
all the
Yeah,
paint
it's
is
just like the
wearing
Black
off.
Air Force
The
thing.
paint
Nate.
is wearing off
That's
right
good.
now.
That's why Notre Dame paints their helmets every week.
So Kenny Pickett, man, you know, like, not his best, right? We don't need to spend all day on this game, because if you're the Steelers, you're like, let's just flush this one and put it to bed. You think we got blown out? Let's watch Sunday Night Football. But Kenny Pickett, you know, one time missed, I think it was Deontay Johnson in the end zone. And it's like the first quarter, and Johnson's giving him palms up. He's like, no, throw it here. Like, we all know the ball.
You know
was
what they
behind.
want.
You know, and that's kind of like a code break in football, where you're like, you don't show up your teammates. It happens. I've been there, like when we got gashed in New Orleans and there was no edge. I wasn't doing it to show him up, But I'm like, where the fuck is the safety? And somebody in the media was like, saw you put your hands up after the long run. And I'm like,
I try to keep my shit glued.
you know, guilty as charged. But it happens. And it's not a good sign when that stuff's happening the first week, because like, if I really, I'm not trying to put thoughts in Deontay Johnson's head, but if I really respect that quarterback on a level where I'm like, he's the guy, I'm not doing that week one, the first quarter. I'm not saying Deontay Johnson deserves blame for the loss. I'm saying it's a symptom of how they came out the first week and just didn't seem together.
An example of that was a callback to the Colorado game against Nebraska. Sanders and Hunter had a miscommunication outside the numbers, and it wasn't a palms up from Hunter, but there was definitely verbal. And you could see it was a back and forth. There's a communication. Those are two guys that they understand that they were not on the same page.
But they see each other as equals.
And they see each other as equals.
Yeah.
And if you see more of that in that offense.
I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill here, but
in particular, the Steelers skill players.
Yeah.
The Pittsburgh Steelers skill players who have a massive amount of talent, but if they can find out how to equal that balance out.
George Pickens got to get him the ball more. I mean, like, he can't just be verticals. You got to find ways to give him the ball. Just put the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
And because he's your best bet. Like, he is. Like, that offense is not like an explosive, exciting offense to watch. You got one guy who, I mean, he's so fucking competitive. After every play, he shoves the corner like it's practice. Like, he forgets that it's the game. I mean, like,
he's an O-lineman.
Yes, he's like
With
like
hands.
an angry. George Pickens is if Ryan Jensen had just an incredible amount of athleticism or something like that.
Yeah.
The motherfucker just he can't turn it
always
off.
Gonna get the last touch.
I don't want to, because Bo might hear this.
He's got a little Richie incognito.
I don't want to give Ryan Jensen too much credit because Bo might hear this pod, but
I'll say Richie
because Jensen terrorized him in practice. But he's somebody.
Because Richie's always pushing somebody after a play.
I don't want to spend too much time on this game, but T.J. Watt looked great as well.
Looked great.
McKivitz, you know, it's he ate McGlinchey. Although, you know, I think the big thing for me coming away from this game is you had Brock Purdy, who's the biggest question mark on a team that otherwise, you look at this roster, it's hard to find a team that's more talented. And you say, hey, quarterback in the second year, a whole offseason of people studying tape of him. Maybe he comes back down to earth. You know, it was like he played in that Seattle game, and he threw a couple balls that I was like,
He's got the right
you
players
kept
around
waiting.
him
You kept waiting but you kept waiting for the drop off where you're like, okay, the honeymoon phase is over, and he gets the surgery on his elbow, which you never know what somebody's going to come out of that looking like. And he looks fucking great, Kyle. I don't want to be hyperbolic, but I do think in the next 5 years, you're not going to have him in the top 5 echelon. He's never going to be like Justin Herbert talented, Patrick Mahomes, some of these guys. But he is in that next tier for me. And it's impossible. It's just like Tua. We're going to talk about Tua. It's not just like Tua. But Tua's got great pieces around him. I'm not going to hold that against him too much.
Great pieces and a great piece setter. With the coordinator. I mean, you look at the coordinator piece. And
same thing in San Francisco to a lesser degree.
I know better than a lot of people that an offense is only as good as the coordinator. It doesn't matter who the fuck you have out there.
So I just think like, and this is what it is for Brock Purdy. Usually you see a late round guy come in the game and he's going to be get the ball out, process, go through the offense, which is ironically, I think like what Jimmy was. And, Jimmy he was turnover prone on top of that. But Brock Purdy he's an artist. Like, he's an artist back there. He can make plays off schedule, off script, off platform. I really like the kid, and I think I think it's going to take a year or two, but that late round Mr. Irrelevant stank is going to leave, and we're going to look at him like a top 10 quarterback, because I think after a couple of years, his body of work is going to show that.
And it's easier to put pieces around him too when he's less than $1 million of AAV.
Yeah. Well, it's also easy to cover your mistakes.
Yeah. Right. And like, speaking of mistakes, John Lynch had some question marks with the Trey Lance thing, but I think picking a quarterback like this at the end of the draft kind of more than makes up for that.
Yeah, but it's like the Brady thing. It's like we're still doing specials about, we found this guy. You found him in like the 10th round. Yeah. And, like if you really thought he was Tom Brady, you'd have snagged him earlier. The Niners got lucky. They were good and lucky. You got to be good and lucky to pick a guy in the late round.
One thing I feel like the Niners have at their advantage is they don't have that top 5 quarterback in name. So the media, the fans, there's not going to be that overreaction.
You're right about that.
If he doesn't have a spectacular game one week, but the team carries him to a win, That's what they need.
You're right about that.
They don't want somebody to go out and lose them the game trying to prove themselves to be the next Tom Brady.
No, it does keep the temperature down. They're a West Coast team, which can help.
Christian McCaffrey.
And yeah. and Brock Purdy's not one of those guys that's going to get first take airtime. So it does help that team. So yeah, big win for the Niners. Steelers, I don't want to overreact. I think they're probably going to be okay. And if you're the Steelers, get on the bus and look around the AFC North. Just have a look around. Cincinnati looked bad, and we'll get into them in a second. The Ravens look clunky, right? It's not like you can't finish in the top two.
The Ravens were playing left-handed.
It's not a sure thing that you're going to be fourth. Is all I'm saying. Just take your medicine and move on. Cincinnati, Cleveland, staying in the AFC North. I think looking at this game, you have to look at it in context. I'm not saying that the Bengals don't have a lot to work on, but Joe said it. Like, I'm not going to panic. We started 0-2 last year, threw a bunch of picks or whatever it was.
Don't they always lose week one?
They always lose early. I didn't touch this game. He's also 1-5 against Cleveland. So this is, in my opinion, the best Cleveland's going to look against a great team. And Deshaun Watson came on a little bit late, but he was up and down. And I don't know if that's the rain.
He's got 9 turnovers in 6 games against the Browns.
Yeah, and Myles Garrett has 100 sacks.
Every day.
Every day. He's 75 on his career. I mean, he just got here.
He's so good.
So
and you put Za'Darius on the other side.
Yeah. And here's the thing about Joe. He likes to work the middle of the field, right? Like, and Jim took that away. Jim blitzed him, Schwartz blitzed him. They lined up 5 down, so they were nervous about getting into empty. They were cover one. They were cover one robber. They really heated him up early in this game to set a tone that, like, hey, this isn't gonna be easy. All that time that you were hurt, like, how much preseason did he get?
None.
We were playing golf when he got hurt before Howie's wedding.
Yes.
Oh, ruined my round.
In like OTAs, training camp.
Yeah, so he hasn't had any time out there, and I think Jim's smart to be like, hey, I'm gonna speed the game up on this kid.
And you hear the secondary get interviewed after the game, and they're talking about how confident they played. They said, we all want to make the Pro Bowl. And they said, talk about Jim Schwartz. And they just said, we love Coach Schwartz. Yeah. This defense is so much fun to play in because you're downhill and you're making plays.
No question. And this is the best, not the best rush group, but this is as scary as it's going to get. It's Myles Garrett. Watching his tape, we were talking about Myles Garrett. It's like, I feel like I'm watching somebody that the coaches pulled up from the 90s who's been in the Hall of Fame 20 years.
Yeah.
And they're like showing me Myles Garrett.
It's like when you play Madden Ultimate Team and like Barry Sanders is on the other guy's team.
He's the teaching tape guy, dude.
Yeah.
It's early in this game, they're heating him up on 3rd down. They're going 5 down, and it's just chaos out there. Like, bodies are everywhere. There's no pocket. And they don't even have to be winning rushes. They just all play hard.
Just muddy shit up.
They muddy things up. And you can see Joe just like trying to navigate this pocket, but there's no pocket. And Myles Garrett, one of the first rushes, I mean, he gets under Orlando Brown. He gets under Orlando Brown and just picks him up off his feet with a straight arm. I mean,
both his feet were off the ground.
That's burned into my memory. It's like,
now any human being that gets undered by Myles Garrett is going for a fucking ride.
Yeah, but this is a big human being,
Yeah.
and then the next 3rd down, they're walking him up in the A gap, and it's like, oh my God, the center is like, no,
please, God,
please, no.
Yeah.
And he's like a spinner, and he gets the edge so fast, and then he replaces the center's hip so fast. It's like he can win anywhere. You can put him anywhere. This 5 down stuff gives him a lot of flexibility. It's scary.
The 5 down stuff. Let me just touch on this as an O lineman. Pre-snap, if we're in empty as an offense, which means we've got no back and protection or tight end, it's just us 5 O linemen.
Yeah.
And they've got 5 D linemen, one of which is Myles Garrett, and he's moving around left and right on the line of scrimmage. Somebody from either side of the line of scrimmage has to keep an eye on Myles Garrett to know that if he hits backside, so if I'm the left guard and Myles Garrett hits over the right guard, I have to slide down over the center to help. So not only am I looking at my matchup pre-snap, but with Myles Garrett floating and spinning like this pre-snap, you have to be aware of where he is so you can help your buddy.
So you feel dizzy.
It's dizzying.
Yeah.
It is dizzying.
Yeah, and especially when it's like you got to fight Myles Garrett dizzy.
Like the spinner I dealt with was Leonard Floyd,
Yeah.
and he's a good rusher.
Yeah.
But if the spinner's Myles Garrett, it's like
It's the
bad
best
day.
feeling. It's like playing in college when you play with a guy like Chris Long.
Yeah.
And everyone on their offense, if Chris wants to move wherever he wants, everyone's focused on him. And when the play snap, 9 times out of 10, you probably have an old lineman when that guy is moving, has eyes on him when he probably shouldn't.
And
Yeah.
and you know
And
they
you
always
leave
say
the
on
guy
defense
open.
the most important thing is your eyes.
Yep.
It gets ignored a lot. Like what are offensive linemen looking at pre-snap? Because you've got a lot of noise. You have checks. You have.
I'm just trying not to make eye contact
You're
with you.
You're right. You're trying not to tell anything. You're trying not to look down because you might be teaming with the center or something.
Aaron
like
Donald
that.
told me that the first time I played against
Hey,
Aaron
buddy.
Donald after the play, I was playing tackle, so he wasn't my direct matchup, but we ran a deuce block on power, which means I come down and boom, I hit him in the
You
hip.
looked at him and you knew
And
it.
I looked down before the play, and we got him good. And after the play, he goes,
I knew it was coming.
"Hey, big guy." I was like, "What's up, Aaron?" He was like, "You look down at me every time you double team." I said, "Thanks."
What a kind soul. I don't care what they
I
say
stared at
about
the
him.
fucking ground. For
You
the
do that
next
because you're
60
my
plays.
brother.
I was like,
you did that because you're my brother.
Yeah.
He's looking out. That's my
I like to
dude.
think, we got after his ass.
Yeah, we. But here's the last thing I'll say about Joe Burrow. Every quarterback that got paid didn't play great yesterday.
Yeah.
So I'm not making an excuse for him, but
Pockets heavy.
Nobody.
Let's not
Them
let's
pockets
not
heavy, yo.
overreact. Again, it's week one, and I will say this about the Browns: that offensive line, Kyle. There is a play,
Wyatt Teller.
22 yards of pancake.
Wyatt Teller.
22 yards.
He's a bad boy.
He had dude from Cincinnati riding public transportation for 66 feet and buried him.
I love that
in the
O-line.
red zone.
No white
They're-
cheese in the club.
They were in the shot zone,
He makes me want to
and
play
the
again.
kid woke up in the red zone. It was like,
Blindside.
and also I want to say this: Njoku had a great block on this play. So like the tight ends are getting into it. The lineman, DeJuan Jones came in and looked solid in pass pro.
He's
Like
so fucking big.
guy's huge. You couldn't hide him.
He was just reaching and
You
blocking
couldn't hide
everybody.
him. Yeah. You couldn't hide him. Conklin went out with an injury. I think that's going to be interesting. Like I think somebody like DeJuan Jones, maybe his ceiling's higher than Conklin. I'm not saying
This is a
hey.
Wally Pipp situation.
It could. I think they found a guy that they believe in because they drafted him and he looked okay yesterday. And then on the other side, I know Jedrick Wills had an X-ray. So just like at the tackle position, I would just watch out. And then JOK's Ghanaian attire coming to the game was maybe Bevel Conway. That was sick. That was awesome. That was drip. That was
like it.
the drip
And
king.
shout out to Deshaun for making some plays with his legs as well and showing us what we've seen in the past. I mean, I remember talking about this on Tops yesterday. We cannot forget the ceiling that Deshaun Watson has.
I just thought I thought slippery ball, slippery hands. That's his wheelhouse. I would have thought he would have played a little better.
I see what you did there.
But Higgins in 5, no bueno. Okay, while we're here on the the JOK outfit, on the other side of that thing is Higgins in number 5. I worry about the guy this year in number 5. I just think sometimes the number is a really powerful thing.
Are you not a fan of single digit numbers?
No, it's got to be right. It's like we were talking about Josh Jacobs yesterday.
It kind of feels like when you say
He's
this.
got this
and-
giant 8 on his. It's like you got to look at how the number
Strange.
looks.
I
on
know
your
you're
jersey.
not doing this, but I feel like you're body shaming a little bit. Like
No,
when
I'm
you
not.
talk
No,
about
no,
the
no.
single digit numbers.
No.
Because it's just like what
T.
what
Higgins.
is it?
T. Higgins probably got a better body than me.
T. Higgins, great body.
Well,
Do you think you could have pulled off a single digit number?
it depends on what number it is.
I wore a single digit in high school.
But,
It looked
I
sweet.
mean, single digit. You only have 0 through 9.
It depends on. Let me do the breakdown
So,
for you.
which
Let me do the
one-
breakdown
okay.
for you. Okay, you don't want the number to be too skinny.
9 and 6.
White man's
So
burden
one's
out
out.
here on the
So
love
one-
handles.
one is out.
Okay, so you don't want to have love handles with a single
is
digit.
out.
1 is out.
2 is out.
2 is out.
3 is out.
3 is a maybe.
4 is
3
stupid.
looks good. 4 is kind of dumb. 5, no, it's just Cave. It's
5
Cave
is a
on
running
Thibodeau.
guy.
6, nah.
I like-
7 maybe.
I like 6 and 9.
8, no. Here's what you like. Here's what you like if you're a D lineman.
Wait. So,
There are no yeses.
wait,
Huh?
wait, I know.
6
So
and
wait,
9.
Wait. So what single number is acceptable?
I just walked you through them.
For a
No,
D lineman.
you said
No, I'm
no,
gonna get
you
there.
said no.
I'm going no, yes, no, yes. 6.
You had no yeses yet.
No, I do. If you listen, I have a 3, a 7, and a 9 are all yeses.
I don't like 3.
3's good,
Stupid. Just Dale.
but you just have to be aware of your
What about
body
9?
And also I just gave it to you. 9 is a yes.
Is it yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait,
you said 3, 7, and 9.
3, 7, and 9.
Okay, 3,
Yeah.
7, and 9 are the only acceptable.
And I
For
say
me
standards.
personally, but it's
6
different
and
for
9.
everybody.
Okay.
If you look like fucking Daniil Hunter, wear whatever you want. But I got to be cognizant of these little
Yeah.
I go back to my original statement.
we're eating
Sounds like-
Popeyes on the plane. All the DBs who
guy
just
eats
look
everything on the
great.
plane.
Chad Ochocinco just eats McDonald's. All these little guys, they're like, oh, let's get the Popeyes for the plane. Well, my big ass, I start looking like I'm swollen out there on Sunday because of the
Puffy
fucking
face.
yeah, dude. So, anyways,
Can't see out my helmet.
all right. Back on track. What game should we do next? The class of the AFC, since we're talking about some of the best teams in the AFC, Miami and the Chargers, they're kind of in that same weight class, and this was a heavyweight bout, dude, and it looked totally different from both teams. First off, I want to say this: Tua played his best game late in this game. All right, like early in this game, they were racking up yards like a motherfucker, but it'd be like a slant would go for 35.
Wide
he made
open.
some nice throws. There were some opportunities that the Chargers had that they didn't take advantage of. They did get a pick in the red zone, but late in the game when Tua had to, I think it was the last 17 minutes of the game. It was Tua time, bro. This guy, he starts throwing darts. I mean, they're down 31-27. The throw he made to Berrios on 3rd and 15 was incredible. It was great. He was rolling left, which is a nice thing about his game. And just to be able to get enough on that and put it in the right place, that was a huge conversion to get a field goal out of that. And then late, that ball where he climbed the pocket and hit Tyreek Hill on the right sideline was a great ball. I mean, the fade in the end zone, those are 3 of the best throws I've seen him make in crunch time. So whatever he did in the offseason, and some people say this is who he was last year, he looked really good in the fourth quarter. I'm just calling it how I see it. I feel like this team with him at quarterback can go a long way. The question is going to be the defense, right? Because the run game was a problem. And the Chargers, if there's one positive you're going to glean from this game, it's like we ran the ball up their ass a little bit.
6 yards a pop.
But I don't know if it's like a Kellen Moore, Vic Fangio thing where it's like it's not a good combination.
I was literally about to say.
Because like it was almost like you wanted Lombardi back for that game.
Yeah.
You take what they give you, that sort of thing.
Well, Vic's whole thing is bend but don't break.
Yep.
And he's going to present you with what seems to be advantageous looks, and
Yeah.
then he's going to try to take them away. You in large part see the secondary playing with their chest towards the line of scrimmage. They're not going to
Yeah.
have their back to the ball a lot.
Yep.
You saw that. I draw back to the 2018 Bears a lot, but Kyle Fuller was a guy who would sit down at the sticks and behind where the guys are going to be, and he can make breaks on the ball. So you're going to see an explosive offense that scores a ton with a defense that'll give the offense time to recover on the sideline.
Yeah.
Bend but
Yeah.
don't break.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be a complimentary football team. I love the Fangio signing.
Well, they also, and this is the best thing Fangio did, was he heated them up at the exact right times last night. Whether it was 1st and 10 and, at the end of the game when the Chargers have a chance to go win this thing after, that last fade route, they heated them up on 1st down. It ends up being an intentional grounding, which is a drive killer. And then late in the game, I think it was the game is on the line. They blitz again, and Jalen Phillips, who I love this kid, dude.
Good dude. We met him.
Great guy.
We met him at the Waste Management.
He might be, before it's said and done, the best player on that defense.
He is very good.
I mean,
Really good.
I don't know if I'm starting a team. You look at a corner like Xavier Howard, you look hard, right? You look at Javon Holland, you might look at Christian Wilkins as a dark horse up front, but the best, most dangerous guy on this front, including the guy they went and gave up a bunch of picks to go get last year, is Jalen Phillips.
Yep.
And with the game on the line, he's lined up in Temecula, dude. And it's another Dolphins callback.
Temecula, wine country.
Yeah. Well, it's also where you meet people to fight. You meet me in Temecula.
Was that the Lakers guy? Who was that?
Yeah, I was one of those guys.
Yeah. He drove 4 hours to whip somebody's ass. It was a Kanye song.
Yeah. So yeah.
Interlude.
Matt Barnes.
Matt Barnes. Shout out to
Derek
Matt Barnes.
Fisher.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we drove 40 hours.
Okay.
30 hours. Chicago, St. Louis to Chicago.
No.
I couldn't figure it out. But all right. So, anyways, he's out there outside the Parham or somebody is lined up and he's detached, and Phillips has got to make that decision, which is tough for a rusher. Like, where do I go? Well, you got a pressure, so you want to be outside of everything. He had another big pressure late in the game on 3rd and 5. The guy's really just come on. I really like the dude. And okay, so Justin Herbert, I'm not going to overreact to this. I mean, like these teams just played.
You still got a cannon.
Less than a calendar year ago, and the series is tied. So, you know, this is going to be a nice rivalry, same draft class, the whole thing. You know who I'd probably lean, but Tua did a great job of silencing a lot of people yesterday coming in the season. Because
Are you silent yet?
Huh?
Are
No.
you silent yet?
No.
You still talking?
But no, here's what I'm doing, Nate. Here's what I'm doing. I'm being real, which is like the guy is a good quarterback.
Yes.
I've always said that.
Great talent.
But I like down the stretch, would I rather trust him or Joe Burrow? Would I rather trust him or, you know, insert AFC Patrick Mahomes? Last year, the problem I had was we were putting him in that echelon. Now, I think he's very good, but I want to see a whole season where he stays upright. And what's going to go a long way, I still don't think he can throw the deep ball, if that's what you're referring to. But what I liked is Austin Jackson and the other tackle, I can't even remember his name.
But-
Kendall Lamb.
But be honest, do you really need to know how to throw a deep ball that accurate when you have Tyreek Hill?
No, but that was my point in the first place.
No, which is why we
People-
see
people
which
lost
is why
their
we see
minds.
them
Okay.
layering the defense a lot between the
Doesn't
first and
matter,
second
though.
levels, between the second and third levels.
I'm not going to argue with
He's
you on
not-
the Monday
he's
show.
not- he's not
I'm
off-
that's not why we're here.
I'm with you.
For
He's
sideshows.
not often here.
Huh?
He's not often going to be asked to throw the ball over the safeties. What you see is the defense spreading out because of all the weapons on offense.
He's lethal in the middle of the field.
and he can take what the defense
He's
gives him.
lethal in the middle of the field.
These are yak guys.
So
rack
again,
guys.
the argument about Tua isn't really an argument. Is he a good player? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Is he a good quarterback? He's turned into a really good quarterback.
he ain't Dan Marino, statistically speaking.
Well, 1994, the last time there was some statistic last night. The last time in an opener.
546 yards.
Yeah, I was
or
like, how'd they find this stat?
Yeah.
The Dolphins went 10-6 that year. I think this team could be better. Okay. So this is a big win for them, man. You
I
know,
just
go on
love
the road
Mike
and win this game.
McDaniel too.
So, anyways, I think you're looking at two teams that could be there towards the end, and I wish they could play twice a year. I wish these two teams were in the same division because it was like a college game. Every other game was like unders, ugly, and this game was like a Big 12 game.
Yes.
And I can't wait for Jalen Ramsey to get back to see how he adds into that defense. and
Yeah,
what-
you're gonna have to
what
wait a
he
little
does for
bit,
them.
but that's gonna help.
I want to see Phillips doing more of the Judon stuff where they've got him rushing over the A gap, the spinner stuff. We were just talking about with Miles. Like the more stuff you do with Jalen Phillips,
Yeah.
the more eyes on him,
Yeah.
the
Hey,
more
but-
opportunities for the other
Yeah.
rushers.
It's a copycat league. You know, he's
Yeah.
probably looking at it and like, hey, coach, let me get one like this.
I think Vic wants to trust him in the game, and then he can ask him to do more.
Tennessee, New Orleans. Now you might ask, why is this here? Well, it's because I decided it's here because I love ugly football. I love physical, ugly football. I spent like an hour on this game, so fuck it. We're gonna do it in the marquee games. You might say, hey, New Orleans didn't look that good. You might say, hey, I didn't think Tennessee was gonna be that good. I didn't think so either. But Tennessee keeps impressing me at how high their floor is. I thought this offensive line would be a big problem, and it was in some spots. But they find ways to hang in the ball game, and the big story out of here is Ryan Tannehill played maybe his worst game as a pro,
Did.
especially in a spot where like all the pressure's on you, and Malik Willis is taking these leaps and bounds, and I really like Ryan Tannehill, but 3 picks, he almost threw a couple more. It was a problem. I mean, like he had a couple misses. I think at one point you had the reverse pass that should have gone to Okonkwo, and he overthrew that pass. That would have tied the game. You had the back in motion late in the game with a chance to win the game, coming across his face and then leaking out, and he misses him. So like 2 of the biggest opportunities he didn't cash in on. He also nearly threw a bunch of picks. He threw a couple picks where he just seemed to hit his back foot and force the ball to DeAndre Hopkins.
He got DeAndre Hopkins lit up a couple times
Yeah.
in this game. Out on the sideline, he getting outside the pocket, getting rid of it to DeAndre.
But he just forced the ball into double coverage.
I like
on the
seeing
one pick.
Hopkins. I like seeing Hopkins.
And Okonkwo is right there on the deep cross. So like just take the profit. But I don't know if it's a guy who's playing, he's pressing because, you know, and people say like competition. I'm all for that. But I always say with quarterbacks, like, you know, if you're sure that Malik's got enough to come in this year and win you some games, great. but competition can actually hurt a quarterback too.
1000%.
And there's some hairy hardos. I'm sure one's sitting in the chair over there, where he's like, "It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You compete to
Just
win."
don't play.
Look what Dak Prescott did when Trey Lance got there. He was like, "Oh no!" Like, you can say in a perfect world, but you're going to lose games as a coach, because Ryan Tannehill looked like he was pressing out there. I don't know how long he's going to last. I don't want to overreact, but that was a bad game. And in the context of like the way Vrabel is, what we've seen in the past, the noise there, I just wonder how long he's going to last. I also wonder how long Dillard's going to last there. Dillard was, and they gave him a lot of money. He's got to play better. I mean, grander spin hit him a couple times.
Grander spin.
And his anchor wasn't great. Like, he's in Tannehill's face a lot. And I actually thought Chris Hubbard did a really nice job. So at right tackle, Chris Hubbard is a guy who's been on a few teams, play him on grids. He's been on the Browns, the Steelers, a couple teams, and I played against him. He's serviceable, man. Like, he's a spot starter, right? Or he's a guy that's a swing kind of guy. And he did a nice job. What they decided they'd do was they'd help him a little bit because he had Cam Jordan. But he was fine when he was one-on-one. And then they trusted Andre Dillard to win his matchups, and he didn't. So I think that's going to be a work in progress. Treylon Burks, where is he? So the Titans offense, their formula. They got to be smash mouth. The run from, we had another stiff arm from Derrick Henry. I don't know if you saw it, the May stiff arm.
I didn't see it. I felt it. I heard it.
Yeah. It was.
I experienced it.
And Hubbard had a great finishing block on that play. The Saints, man, their D-line is kind of average. I don't mean this like Arian Foster meant it. We'll get to that in a little bit. I just mean I don't mean average. I just mean that I don't know that they're dynamic. Like, and switching the scheme to a 3-4 on a lot of base downs, I don't know if they have what it takes at nose to hold up in there. Now, this is a big test. It wasn't Ben Jones out there at center, right?
Right.
But it's a big test. And while they passed it, some guys were like holding on for dear life in there. I just feel like their body types are kind of tweeners, and they're trying to run this new scheme. It's going to take some time. I just don't think they have a lot of winning rushers. So I came into the season thinking tough home field advantage, good stout defense. They were good in the back end. Watching Hopkins and Marshawn Lattimore, it's like every ball has to be, it's tightly contested. Although Hopkins turned him around on a I forget what you were calling that route.
The spin route.
The spin route.
Yeah.
Is that a zig route?
It's like, think of like an out, but you're gonna get an inside stem.
It's kind of like it's a half
You want
circle.
the corner to flip his hips inside.
Turn their back
and
to
then
the
you're gonna break
quarterback,
it
and
out.
then you go outside.
Somebody
You wanna
playing
see
Madden
those
right
hips
now is
inside.
like, you idiots, you don't know what it is. I'm like, motherfucker, I've never seen one in my life.
First off,
I'm
I
running
fucking
that
smoked
way.
you in Madden.
I'm running that way.
And I ain't running no fucking route.
I'm not smoking anybody in Madden. I gave up years ago.
I'll crush you.
But the bottom line is that defense
They
is
missed
going to
on
have to
Yamada.
generate some pressure.
Yeah.
And they actually did a good job on third down of these pick stunts. They got guys floating in these off-ball pick stunts.
That's how they got to get home.
That's how they got to get home. 20 is going to be, cleaning the center's clock, and
They
then
better be damn good at
90.
it. too.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be okay at it. I do. So I'm not so worried about the defense because they're good in the back end. They got good veteran players. They're okay up front. Demario Davis, fucking Derrick Henry scanning across the formation yesterday. And you don't see the guy get knocked on his ass a lot. And it was like, damn, I just ran into an F650.
Like ever.
Demario Davis is a block of concrete, bro.
Yeah.
I have a highlight reel on my phone of him just knocking people over yesterday. But offensively, Derek Carr, I think a lot's going to be made out of this game. The point total, I actually think he's going to be okay there. I think as the game went on, he settled in. He missed a couple throws he wants back. Obviously, the pick, he didn't even see the backer. I don't even know if that's something you got to work on. I just think, like, you didn't see the motherfucker. He was hiding. Penning is going to be a problem for him. Arden Key, this was the Arden Key game, and I want to shout him out because when he left Jacksonville, he was like, I feel like I was important to the city. I helped, like, you heard that whole soundbite, and people were making fun of him. Well, motherfucker can play a little ball, okay?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And, he's come on as his career's gone on. I love that he's found a niche for himself. He beat Penning like a drum on a couple chop clubs.
He had 8 total pressures, as did our guy Autry. Had a great game.
I love
as well.
Autry. I fucking love Autry, dude. I love this D line. Jeffrey Simmons is like
He is
a
such a
villain
man.
in a cartoon. Like he's just
yeah.
he's just He-Man out there. And then Derek Carr was a little skittish. I think he knew the left side of that line, a little shaky. He threw that bad pick. I talked about that. But the 2 throws he had to make were to Shaheed late. He pumps Murphy Bunting, hits him for a touchdown. Beautiful. And then the big deep ball on I can't remember who it was over there. It might have been Fulton.
Yeah.
Late in the game on the left sideline. So, I mean, he did what he had to do, and I think this offense is going to get better as the year goes on. Hopkins had gone 23 for 250 against the Saints over his career. I think they kept him bottled up enough to come out winners. But they win this game easily if 2 things happen. Tannehill plays well, and this was the biggest one. One of the Arden Key sacks, and this is it reminds me of Saints and Rams in 2019. I think it was the other way. The Saints actually got fucked. They forced a fumble and were going to run it back, and the play gets blown dead. So in the NFL today, what officials are coached to do, it's your one fucking job, is when there's a possible strip sack. I don't care if it's close or you think so in real time. You do not blow the whistle. You swallow the whistle and let the play out. And a lot of times it looks like this is awkward. Hey, the guy's running, they're celebrating, but we don't know. You let that run, because if you don't, like they didn't in this game,
That's a live ball.
Yeah.
and there was another situation with
In
the
the
Buckner
Colts
strip
Jags,
sack where they
same
actually
situation.
did it the right way.
Yep.
Where they let the thing run, and actually Tank Bigsby picks the ball up and Zaire Franklin knocks it out of his hand, and they go and score a touchdown.
Yep.
It's the heads up play, but they didn't even have a chance to be heads up here, and that swung the game 10 points. Okay, because they blew the play dead. Tennessee's like, what the fuck? So maybe some good karma for the Saints. I'll never harp on the Saints getting good calls their way because of the whole Rams thing, and because of that play, which is actually the inverse in 2019. So that was a big swing for them.
I like the Saints. I really like their offense. I think that Carr and Olave will be a lot of fun to watch this
He had a
year.
great day.
And obviously, when you get Kamara back in the lineup, it's going to be a completely different thing. I knew going into this game the onus would be on the offensive line. Without Kamara, without that safety net, it's like watching Mahomes without Kelsey. It's like, where are we going to fucking throw the ball when Johnny isn't open?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And here's the last game, Cowboys-Giants. And here's what I'll say about
There
the
was a game?
Cowboys-Giants game. Yeah, there was also a podcast, and it was called Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico for 2 hours talking about whatever the fuck they wanted to talk about. I'm not even going to talk about it here. I'll give you 10 seconds on the game. The Giants weren't ready. They weren't ready, and they're not as good as people think this year. We said that. I'm not taking shots at the Giants, but it's just on paper. There's still holes in that roster where, like, that's what you got to compete with. It looked like the little Giants against the Cowboys. It looked like Spike was out there.
Yes.
Micah Parsons was Spike. Mike McCarthy was Spike's dad if he had
He's
a
just
fucking
doing pull-ups
FDNY
off
hat.
the back of a
And he
U-Haul
finally got to
truck.
call the plays. Dad, I'm really excited you get to call the plays today. And so was Mike McCarthy. But, 2 turnovers right off the bat, you just can't win that way. The Giants, we talk about teams that can't play from behind. They can't play from behind. That's not what they're designed to do.
And there's not many teams that are designed to go out and have 2 possessions like that and then be still in the ball game emotionally.
They had a great fucking drive, the first drive, and it ends in a field goal block for a touchdown, dude. I had the under. The fucking
Your
the
balloon
under,
goes.
the under hit because they couldn't score. The Cowboys failed to cover the over. I mean, it was all on the Cowboys. So I'm not gonna break that game down too much. It's just like Brian Dable. The coaches need to watch the game upstairs and hit people individually on what went wrong, and they need to spend time in the meeting room. But I love what Dable said after the game. It's like, coaches often take that opportunity to grandstand and make it about them and say, like, my guys didn't show up or there was effort problems, that sort of thing. No, it wasn't. Your team wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
You guys didn't execute, and that's what he said after the game. So we're going to flush that and move on. And I think he also knows we have a ways to go until we can hang with the heavyweights in the NFC. When they keep playing the class of the NFC, they get blown out.
Mm-hmm.
Blown out by the Eagles last year, blown out by the Cowboys, blown out by the Cowboys. So they got a ways to go, but I'm not going to overreact to 40-0. This game should have been 27-13.
Yep. You think Micah got better?
Yes.
Oh,
How great is it just watching him run around in there?
he's incredible. it was interesting talking to Lane about him, because I like to ask about, and usually you mention a rusher and his face is like,
he's okay.
It's boring.
Yeah.
But like Micah's like, I'm sweating a little bit. It's like, hearing what he does well and just how quickly he dictates the action at the top of the rush. Like it's on you like that, and he's also a quick processor as a football player. So he's not only setting the tempo of the rush immediately, but he's got the counter off of whatever it is when he gets there. And so you're scrambling to get there. And by the time you get there, he's there and he's got a plan.
Fair assessment, or is this crazy? I said this earlier to Kyle. He's the Black Clay Matthews. The way that they're going to start using him.
That was my reaction.
What? Clay was good.
Yeah, they used to float Clay around.
And when they used to do with Clay, they used to
what in Micah Parsons is a different different
having to know where Micah Parsons is on the field at all times is akin to having to know where Clay Matthews is at all times on the field.
And somebody's name that rhymes with Orange Baylor.
Yeah.
That's where you got to go. I'm not saying he's LT, but what I am saying is like if what's his name? Bill Parcells is down there and he's coaching and he like is in the building, I'm pretty sure he's drawn that comparison.
Yeah.
Because like Al Groh he was always looking for the next LT.
Yeah, he was.
Because he used to coach LT. He used to be like Ahmad Brooks is the next LT.
Ahmad Brooks.
And Ahmad Brooks had some LT in him, especially in college.
Good.
But this Micah Parsons, man, but here's what really happened in the game. This is what I learned. By the way, Deuce Vaughn almost drowned out there. It was raining so hard in the fourth quarter. They had to throw him a floaty. Honestly.
Deuce!
It was, oh my God. He looked like a kayaker pinned under a rock.
They changed personnel when they got to send a boat out there.
Yeah. So anyways, this is what I learned. Dak got a leg tattoo, 11 hours, the whole thing. And, also Tony Pollard at 4 years old played with the 7-year-olds. And Chris Collins was like, his dad took him out there with the 7-year-olds and they did this drill where he had to just tackle people over and over again. I was like, this sounds like child abuse. And he turned it into like a happy ending. He was like, yeah, well, he went home, took the year off and came back. And next thing you know, he's Tony Pollard. But
playing scout team as a 4-year-old is crazy.
They got a whole series out of that, though. They got a whole series out of that, though. He was playing against 7-year-olds. He got a whole series out of this.
There was a play where somebody on the Giants made a play and it was negated by a penalty, and the guy on the Giants was celebrating so hardcore. Mike Tirico immediately was like, and that doesn't count. There's no reason to celebrate that. And Chris Collinsworth. I laughed and then I walked to go play video games.
It would be great if you had like a radio in your because this would help. Because some of these blowouts and games where you're like, I know they're just waiting to circle somebody in the run game. If you had the game feed in your radio that you could turn on and off just to make sure you're not getting dogged.
Oh my
God. If they could rig that bad boy. I could hear Tirico circle. He's a little long in the tooth out here. He's getting moved off the ball. All right, so we've got an ad read, and then we'll get to the best of the rest. I hate buying tickets. I've been playing my whole life. Never had to buy tickets. The ticket part is stressful, but buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. Kyle, I know you like theater.
Carnegie Hall, baby. We can go watch some violinists.
I want to go watch Cats. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and the best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. And with the Game Time app, it's easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. If I'm trying to see the monster trucks for my kids, done. Or Willie Nelson for me and my kids, done. I can find it all at the Game Time app. Game Time is the place for last-minute ticket deals. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has the deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals, flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. The Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Nate just made a noise. He sees a way to make a profit. Download the Game Time app. Create an account and use code GREENLIGHT for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply again. Create an account and redeem code GREENLIGHT for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Ryan Clark does a monologue on Inside the NFL. Everybody's freaking out. How about that fucking ad read?
That was clean.
Ryan, okay,
Two of them.
Ryan Clark.
Yeah.
Can we do Ryan Clark for a minute?
Yeah.
So Ryan Clark and Tua, obviously, they were exchanging, they were spatting.
Pleasantries. But they talked on the phone.
And I'm there. I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
So obviously Tua had his performance yesterday. And Ryan Clark was on Twitter just talking
What did he
about.
say?
He's like, I knew you were doing all this. You were in the weight room, but I didn't know you were throwing the ball around like this. I wanted to reply, you were really laying it on thick.
Yeah, okay, that's good. That's good.
But I didn't.
Then
Because
you
you guys are
then
teammates.
you would have been on the phone with
Because you guys
Tua.
are teammates.
Yeah, we are teammates.
Hey,
No,
Tua-
Ryan took that in stride.
Tua wants to get scrappy.
Well, Tua was like, Ryan was like,
You ever see Ryan Clark play?
Right, yeah. I was like, hey, Ryan, what would happen if the Dolphins played the Steelers with the old rules? Your Steelers against today's Dolphins.
I mean,
maybe down a couple receivers.
Yeah.
All right. But Ryan Clark talking about Tua look thick or whatever. And then Tua's like, oh, you think I look thick? Don't make me get all the Samoans. That's what he said at the press conference, dude.
And
And
there
when
are
I
a
hear
lot.
don't make me get all the Samoans,
There
man,
are a lot.
I'm
Yeah.
good, bro.
They're
Strongest
everywhere.
people on earth.
For sure.
Honestly, though, nicest people on earth.
The
I would assume if
nicest
there's a
people
bunch,
on
if
the
there's a bunch
planet.
of like Polynesian,
Dude,
Samoan,
my favorite teammates.
the best food.
We used to do Kava Hour.
They got kava.
Mike Humanawanui.
But I'm not gonna lie.
Haloti.
Imagine all of them rolling up on you and doing that haka shit before getting in your ass.
Yo.
Because that shit gets you ready to
Yeah.
ready to go.
And I don't want to say, speaking of
leading the charge.
Polynesians, because Polynesian covers Samoa and
American Samoa.
so Polynesian football players are the coolest motherfuckers.
Yes.
Always.
Coolest motherfucker.
You always have a teammate, one probably somewhere, and they're always cool as
The
shit.
coolest, but also the guys that you're like, hey, I don't want to make Haloti not a mad.
Yep.
Because, he's not going to get mad a lot, but when he does,
When I played
You're
against
afraid
him,
to
I
see
tried
what
to
it
be
is.
so nice to him.
Tua's like,
I was-
Haloti!
I was mic'd up in my Lions game against
Yeah.
Haloti,
Yeah.
and it's some of my favorite footage because we're just chatting it up the whole
So,
game.
anyways, we just kissed Tua's ass because we don't want the Samoans to come down here with that big defenseman for the Bruins that's still waiting to kick our ass. What's his name?
Chara.
Chara. Chara's got
And
We'd
it
wear
proves
him
that
the
he's-
fuck
and
out.
Tua is
Whoa, easy,
officially.
Me and my guy Milan Lucic.
No, I feel yeah.
you get whoever his buddy is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Tua's officially tough now because he got that full tribal tattoo.
and
It's
didn't
done
go
now.
under.
He didn't go under.
Didn't go under.
And
He
they
probably
do
got
that-
this one.
No, that's what I'm saying. They do it like that. That's the only way that they do it.
Yeah, Dak, try that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
whittle a tattoo on your leg.
Okay. All right. The best of the rest. The Ravens, man. I'll be quick about this. I mean, the Ravens were a little clunky. They were a little sloppy. I mean, but it's a new offense. I'm not going to freak out. I'm not going to overreact. I also think coming to the game, I said this, the secondary for the Texans, pretty good group. So, you want to come out of this game and see. I think if you win this game and you find out that Zay Flowers is a dude, you're going to be happy. And that's what happened. Zay Flowers, ton of motion pre-snap. He's great in space. He's going to be a man separator in short yardage situations, the whole thing. When you absolutely have to have it, he's a guy. And then on the other side of things, Odell, didn't hear a lot from him. And I'm not putting that on him, but what I am saying is like Stingley maybe did a good job. I got to look back at the coverage in that game. But so I think, with the offense, the big concern for me is J.K. Dobbins hurt already.
Oh, yeah.
Achilles, that just
Brutal.
that's tough, man. So
Brutal.
absolutely crushing for them. And the offensive line didn't look great. So, Lamar, it's a whole new offense. They're spreading the ball out, the whole thing. He was under center a lot. I mean, relative to what I expected. I thought, when you got QB run at your disposal, it kind of takes it away under center. Unless you're
I
running
feel
like a
otherwise.
Paul Johnson
Yeah.
kind of thing.
I feel otherwise, honestly.
Oh, you do?
I feel like it's a different look at the ability for the quarterback to get outside. You can influence with the eyes and the ball fake.
Sure,
under center.
but you're still going to major in the zone read, RPO
But
stuff.
one thing
which
that
is from-
the second level has to do, from a respect standpoint, is respect the A and B gaps when you're under center.
Yeah.
It's a quicker hitting play. The landmarks are tighter for the guards and stuff. But when you got Lamar Jackson, you can run for the edge. You can run these backdoor stuff with the tight ends going out the backside.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with them sprinkling it. I just thought I'd see him in shotgun a lot more. I mean, it's just an observation. I don't know if it's going to be a good or a bad thing, but I thought the reviews were probably mixed on the first outing for this offense, and a lot of people were like, "Is this what we signed up for?" Because it looks like just a different form of
and like Lamar didn't play in the preseason, so that's his first live action. Similar to the Bengals coming out slow. Burrow didn't play preseason. And the Eagles coming out a little bit slow offensively.
And hey, guys,
QB's first action.
Mark Andrews didn't play.
Right.
So, like, let's not forget about that whole thing. I think the other than the Dobbins injury, I thought this was a win for them.
Yep.
Just get out there. You didn't have to throw the ball to Odell. You couldn't, whatever it was. Zay Flowers looks really good. And then, on the other side of things, the Texans defense was encouraging.
Yeah.
It's encouraging. Grenard is a good rusher. Will Anderson had a sack.
Ornery.
He got pulled a little bit, ended up with a sack and one. They just
6 pressures.
they're
Anderson.
they're good, dude.
Like, that's a lot of fucking pressures.
It's a lot of pressure.
If Will Anderson's my matchup and I'm driving home from the game and I read 6 pressures,
Not good, Bob.
I had a fucking rough day.
Yeah, how many pressures is what's the Mendoza line for Iowa?
1, 2,
Yeah.
Yeah, easy.
1.
Yeah.
It depends on the guy.
Man,
Yeah.
some
You
guys
got
were
Miles
having rough
Garrett.
days.
If you
out.
play Miles Garrett.
No, I'm talking about it depends on the O lineman.
Oh, okay.
It never depends on who I'm playing.
Oh,
like
yeah.
every game, I want to pitch a shutout. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
okay.
Not often it happens, and sometimes
There's
the
no wiggle room when
quarterback
you
could
play
get
against.
quarterback could get flushed from the other side. There may be a great rusher on the other side,
Okay.
and my guy.
That's another thing. Not
my
every
guy falls into a pressure.
is not every pressure is necessarily a win. Some pressures.
Or you
can
get a
be-
screen release. I was
Yeah.
watching Cody Whitehair release on Kenny Clark yesterday in the
Yeah.
Bears-Packers game. It was a halfback slow screen, and he didn't hold on to Kenny Clark long enough before his release. Kenny Clark gets a pressure.
Hey,
I fucking hate that.
you know what I'm doing?
You're poking the bear.
Yeah, talk about them
Yeah, we're going to talk about the Bears
right now.
Right now.
Talk about
Well,
'em right now.
first and foremost, what the fuck? So excited to watch the Bears. So excited for this game of the week. Bears Packers. They got a brand new playing surface at Soldier Field. You've got all these offseason moves. You go get DJ Moore, which is a true number 1 for Justin
New
Fields to work
fescue
with.
dropped, huh?
New fescue. I'm not sure the type. I'm not sure the genotype yet. But there's new flora. But this is the deal.
Same old
DJ
fauna,
Moore.
though.
DJ Moore, 3 targets, 2 targets, Nolan, something like
Yeah.
that. You get this guy the ball as many times as you fucking can, and like Brandon Marshall, who was there before him, you throw him the ball at 3 yards, and he's gonna get 11 yards because he's gonna make one guy miss. You saw him get the ball on the edge, made a guy miss, and it's an easy first down. Why aren't we seeing more of this? Why aren't we forcing the ball to DJ Moore in advantageous situations?
More.
The running back that I really liked yesterday, what was his name?
Roshan Johnson.
Roshan Johnson.
Yeah,
from
he's
the Texas
part of the reason
Longhorns.
why they were like, David Montgomery.
They gave this motherfucker the ball. That is how you play at Soldier Field. When you get the football, when you get an opportunity to prove yourself, he's the second back behind Herbert. He may be the first back moving forward. I love that game plan. The defensive secondary is supposed to be their strong suit. I saw guys that weren't genuinely excited about making tackles on Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones played a hell of a game.
Pulled his hammy.
Jordan Love-
scoring a tud.
I'm reluctant to say this, but when he throws the football, he looks like Aaron Rodgers.
Bro,
He leaves his feet. He does the jump flick throw, and it's like,
no! Think about it. Think about how much you learn, like your kids, when they start just watching you.
and
learning
no
from
penetration
you,
on the
and
D or O line too.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Awful.
Well, on the other side of things, like Packers defense, we just did a cut up on Rashawn Gary last week, talking about how good this defense could be.
Watch
They
Van
could
Ness.
be underrated good. I got to go back and watch Van Ness.
Dog.
Huh?
Alexander's a dog
Yeah.
for Green Bay's
Yeah.
defense.
And fucking Walker ends up in the end zone with a pick,
Yes.
and he got
Oh my
flattened
God.
by
Yo,
that
the-
rookie
the guard.
right.
Yo,
Darnell
who's that
Wright
guard number
is
58.
a
Yeah,
monster.
Darnell Wright.
Yo,
Right tackle.
The hit. He might be able to play goal line defense, bro. They might like. I'm telling you, Kyle. You got to watch this hit.
I saw it.
Oh my God!
I
The
saw it.
The
Quay-
strike in that.
Quay Walker got up and they walked him into the and then he,
No,
and
he
then he
actually
pushed the
didn't-
trainer.
Top. Look, he actually
They
didn't
just
even
put the
get up
blue
and
tent
pushed
on top
him.
of
If
him.
you watch that over, his team, like the team knew he got blasted, but you just scored a touchdown. And his teammates, like good teammates, they picked him up and stood him up before he probably was ready to, because he got hit hard.
Yeah, they gave him the weekend.
Justin Fields is not throwing the ball enough. They do not have. So there's run plays in offenses that are called call it, run it, where it's like, we're not going to make a check. Whatever the fuck they line up in, we're going to run this play because this is what we've trained to do. They need to have an offense that's trained to throw the football and allow Justin Fields to use that freakish athletic ability. And you heard Greg Olsen talking about it. He's like, why are all these runs design runs? Why don't you let him throw and gash the defense on a reaction?
I don't know, Kyle.
He could be so dangerous.
I don't know, Kyle.
37 balls thrown.
I'm not
going to
were
over 10 yards.
Yeah.
3 balls over 10 yards. This is like the St. Anne's Belfield offense.
Kyle, average depth of target for the Bears, 3.6 yards.
I mean,
I
have more average depth than 3.6.
Not yards, but yeah, I got you.
You know, divided by 3, divided by 12.
It's some serious math. It's serious.
That's the math, right, Matt?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. That's good, Kyle. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna jump off the bandwagon yet. But,
Caleb Williams.
Yeah. Jeez, Kyle. For the record,
Deion Sanders.
Not jumping off the bandwagon yet. It's only week 1. But Caleb and Deion.
Prime time.
You want to do Shador? That's fine too.
Fuck it.
Yeah. Kyle, I've been his coach since Little League.
I don't give a fuck, Deion. We need help.
Okay. Well, anyways,
come.
I'm sorry about that, man. But I think the Packers are better than people think. I mean, we talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago trying to pick that division. It's like, take your pick. It could be Chicago. It could be the Packers at 2. And then at 4, it looks like the Vikings. I mean, I don't know. It's just week 1. But we've been saying this. And, I should have made the Minnesota Vikings an America's team because they're the gift that keeps on giving. You bet a win total, you're always going to be on the right side of it, especially if you lean under. 2 games, really. I'll just hit them real quick right now. Bucks getting a win and the Cardinals being competitive. Good for Jonathan Gannon. This guy, I think people were kind of doing this. He's got a punchable face thing. Like the
hand up.
No, I mean that's. I kind of get the idea that people are going to make him that guy. Right? And I'm not saying they're not going to make him that guy. But they didn't like the verticals thing. They didn't like the did you drive here? Yeah. Did you guys drive here, by the way?
Strange.
Coach, I didn't drive here. I slept here.
Strange.
That's what I would have said.
Yes.
Coach, my internet doesn't work at home. I got to watch film. I slept in the fucking team meeting room. All right? I am a killer. I want killers.
Lawrence Taylor also slept.
How are you going to say you want killers, but you're openly maybe tanking?
So the word on the street is no tank.
That's what it says, the word. Because
word on the street is no tank.
Capital. They were storming the Capitol there yesterday a little bit.
It's easy to get help from the commander.
Maricopa County came to D.C. and they got after him. And listen, they were close. I'm not going to act like I sat there and watched.
Whose first round pick do they have next
game.
year as well? Whose first round pick? They got Houston's first round pick. They've got Kyler Murray coming back healthy at some point. I felt bad for Josh Dobbs at times.
Hey, man, I feel bad for all those guys, okay? Because there's nothing fun about being on teams like that. That was about half my career. I don't know.
They do the little player portrait when they're talking about the rosters at the beginning of the game. They do the player portrait like Josh Dobbs, and they show a cartoon picture of him.
Yeah.
He's got they got him with the wave cap on, which is cool.
Do they? That's sick.
I was always like, do you get to pick
Do you get to call Fox and be like, yo?
I want an eye patch.
Yeah. I just want to look like a pirate. You have an eye injury? No. But no, good for them. Good for them. I'll get into that game. If there's anything to report, I'll report it on Wednesday of the show. I'm sorry, Commanders fans. You don't want to hear about the game. You watched it.
You got a dub.
You know what happened. And then the other end of things, Bucks and Cards. The Bucks actually winning a game. I thought they were in the sweepstakes. They're not in the sweepstakes. It doesn't appear. But here's the story from this game. Jefferson goes off in the first half. In the second half, he doesn't get a lot of targets. And then at the end of the game, he's sitting there and he looks like he lost the Super Bowl. And I really respect this kid. He really pours his heart into this thing. You can tell. He seems like a great dude. They're asking about the contract. He's like, in essence, I'm just going to play. I can't worry about it now. I'm going to play. And this is a unique also, Brian Burns had this approach. But Brian Burns, of course, is actually like he just got done with a holdout. It's a unique approach to trying to get a new deal. Go out there and ball out. Brian Burns did. Okay. But like Justin Jefferson was incredible in the first half. He didn't get the ball in the second half.
Dude.
Kirk threw that red zone pick, and Justin Jefferson Terry-Tated this poor son of a bitch that intercepted the ball.
So fucking hard.
It was like, what did I do? Jesus.
The way Jefferson reverberated on the ground
Uh-huh.
after he hit him, like
Yeah.
if you pull it up, like you just see him like.
Conspir-
He wasn't concussed. He was just
No,
like,
he's just excited.
vibrating.
He was, I'm mad, dude. I'm mad. So, the Vikings can't. They've in the past this has happened to them. If they end up in a tight situation with Justin Jefferson, it's going to be the dumbest thing in the world because this kid's so special. And the wide receivers in the past they've traded them all away. Randy Moss, Harvin,
And they've gone on to have great.
They traded somebody else away.
They got rid of Cordero. He was good in Minnesota.
No, they got rid of Diggs.
Diggs, yeah.
Come on. I mean, every guy that they have that's like a legit number one, it just ends poorly there.
You think after the first half, the higher ups called down was like, "Hey, slow down on getting his stats up until we get him signed. Let's slow this down.
I don't know.
He's good. He's good for
I don't
this.
know. I think the
he's
point's
good for
been
this
made.
You never know.
They're at the negotiating table, but in the second half of that,
You
Bucs
really don't
game,
know, bro.
You
They
don't.
got commercials for a scripted league now at every
Yeah.
timeout. I'm
Yeah.
like, hold on a second.
And
guys.
and then also before we get to the how the hell did this happen section of this breakdown, Carolina and Atlanta, Bijan Robinson, his first touchdown. Okay, like he catches the ball in the flat. He's got a guy who's got an inside-out angle on him, makes him miss, just puts him in the dirt. And then you're looking at a vice tackle, perfect vice tackle at the 5-yard line, splits that motherfucker.
Saquon.
Splits that motherfucker, dude.
It's like Saquon.
He runs a little different.
But it's just like
he's got more of an
mismatch
upright
everywhere.
jump cut.
Everywhere.
It's like he gets to top speed so fast, and you can tell he's a really tough tackle at the second level. Like his ability to turn on a dime from top speed without lowering his pad level, he's graceful. I don't know who he runs like yet, but it's fucking fun to watch. And Tyler Algier, who's out there, he's putting a hole in that. That's a dense motherfucker there. Down at the goal line, it's like his feet just keep moving. Said it before the season, they might have the best back room in the league before the end of the season, and they're.
He looks it now.
I mean,
with
they're
an offense that complements
Oh,
having a great
yeah,
running back
they
room.
run
And
block
they'll
so
get
well.
That
Cordero. What's up with Cordero Patterson right now? He's got something.
yeah. I
He
think
wasn't
we're
able to
back next week.
finish, but I mean, when he's back, even more dangerous. Artie Party, that guy's offense is so much fucking fun to watch. And Kyle Pitts making a huge play.
Kyle Pitts, great catch.
What a catch!
So the Falcons have a lot to be excited about. I think Ritter looks a little bit shaky, and that's the whole thing. Is like we were talking about with Kevin Clark. This is our dark horse team and everything. But how long before we see Heineke? I'm not saying it's like imminent,
Oh boy,
but he's going to be breathing down his neck. I'm not trying to create a controversy.
I know. It's
But
just
if you
week
watch
one.
Desmond Ritter, I might prefer Heineke.
Right.
You know, I don't know, but it is week one. And Brian Burns, who I mentioned, had a really unique approach to getting a new deal. He balled the fuck out. Hayden Hurst, funniest thing of the game, and probably going to be a hollow man, but we'll see, is he throws Bryce Young's first touchdown into the stands just recklessly. And my favorite thing about Hayden Hurst, I can tell I'd like this guy. His tweet after the game was like, hey guys, I gave him the ball back. I need everybody to turn it down about 30%.
Just shut the fuck up.
And I love that statement at the end there. Like, okay, I'll only blame you 70% for
Yeah.
what happened, but that was almost a disaster.
35%.
If that was New Orleans, if you played for New Orleans and you threw the ball into the stands in Atlanta, you're not getting that fucking ball back.
Hell no.
They hate you. So you're lucky that the ball got back. But Bryce Young just stared down two throws to Jesse Bates. It looked like the same play.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like the same play.
That dig right over the
How
middle.
small did Bryce Young look to you guys out there?
That's why he plays indoors on some Sundays, because if he was in New York, he would have been him and Deuce Vaughn would have got swept away. You know, you got to check the weather with Bryce Young and Deuce Vaughn.
Low visibility though.
Yeah, I can't.
Put
You
a
know,
bobber on his helmet.
yeah, exactly. You know how this weekend, it was actually Thursday night. The Brian Branch scored a touchdown with his mouth
Yes.
sticking out of his helmet. You need to
And
put,
no socks.
put a little bobber up there, a little buoy. There's Deuce Vaughn. Flash flood warning.
Right.
Stay inside. Get to the top floor, buddy. Anyways, I think that's all the games. The last one. How the fuck did Seattle lose? This is one of the lone blemishes on my sheet.
Oh my
I threw in a
God.
money line parlay.
Is it fair to say
my
I don't
God.
know?
Yeah. Oh my God, Gino with Aaron.
That mic'd
I
up
did see
moment.
that.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Holy shit!
It's like when you
like Aaron jumped out of a closet.
Yeah, when you open the door and there's like a
Oh, Aaron Donald's there.
It's like when you really scare somebody.
Yeah. But I just thought, the secondary struggled. I want to apologize to Matt Stafford for week 1. I don't want to overreact, but I'll give him an apology. I thought he was going to need life alert soon. He's falling apart. The whole thing, his body, and maybe he does week 4. And I thought this team was going to come out and roll over. Sean McVay, like 5-1 against the spread in his first games in the NFL season. The guy was not. I mean, he was coaching his ass off out there. They picked on this backup corner. They moved the football.
Trey Brown.
They barely. And as we were joking about, hey, maybe Jamal and Witherspoon. They're looking at this thing and they're like, oh, Cooper Kupp's down. Maybe we'll rest them if they're like 70%. Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell, coolest names in the NFL.
Tutu wide open.
And then also Puka Nacua, though, he could be legit. This is a new guy. They got him in the 5th round from BYU.
Polynesian?
Yeah.
Yep.
And
we love him.
Yeah, I love the guy automatically off rip. This might be the new greatest show on turf, these two. I mean, this guy, if you read his scouting report, it's a bunch of coded words about like being a high effort guy and like all this stuff. But he really can. He's a good matchup against man. You can tell he's got that like shifty kind of slot build. He's really tough. He
tries hard. Stretched out on a pass that he couldn't catch and like made it hit his fingertips.
Oh, he hit the ground hard, dude.
Just as a football player, just the way he stretched out for it. When you watch so many wide receivers or guys that don't put the max effort into trying to catch a ball, whether it's catchable or not. I know for me, seeing that shows that like he really loves what he's doing, and that guy loves football. That's a guy that week to week, God willing, any injury, he's a guy that's going to be giving his best effort every time he steps on the field.
So I don't know why the Seahawks suck so bad. I mean,
they need to stop talking so much shit before the game.
Pete Carroll is playing scout quarterback.
They asked DK Metcalf about the Rams defense. He said, I haven't
even heard of them.
I can't name any of those motherfuckers.
Well, it's called a sneak attack.
And I'm like, it's called a depth chart.
Yeah. But neither has Matthew Stafford. So really, how can that be bulletin board material when Matthew Stafford doesn't know their names either? I have an ad read for Little Caesars. Make Little Caesars the official pizza sponsor of the NFL part of your game day. Order online during our Pizza pregame 1 hour before NFL games and get ready for some football fun. Choose your favorite Little Caesars pizza or pick the toppings you crave. Either way, you win. And speaking of winning, everyone scores with convenient delivery or our in-store pizza portal. Forget the transfer portal, guys. I want to go to the pizza portal.
Pizza portal.
It's Pizza Portal pickup. So grab some friends and enjoy a few slices during the tastiest hour before kickoff. Is that all? That ad read? That's it?
Pizza.
It's quick like their slogan.
Pizza.
And I love pizza.
What if there were other companies that were like, burger.
You should be in admin, bro. I cannot wait for you to join us for admin. Okay. You want to join me for admin? No, you can't because you're playing in a golf tournament this week. You motherfucker, you. He's going to skip softball for a golf tournament.
What a shame.
And, I got a quarterback that he might want to interview. He's going to interview him. And then Wednesday, we're not going to be able to talk about it.
I'll be here.
I'm going to have to be like, Macon, what'd you think about the interview? Macon's going to go, I like the middle part. Great fucking joke.
The middle part.
Okay. All right. So we have.
That was good, by the way. Really well done. Week 1, we did a good job recapping a lot of games.
I love the fact that you think the game is over.
We have done a good job so far.
The game is not over.
We haven't fought.
We got mentions.
We haven't fought though.
No, that's right. That's good.
It's like halftime orange slice.
Facts. Give us your viral moment of the week here.
My viral moment.
I know the
week
game's
1 is gonna go to Freddie Falcon, who did his best Jackson DeVille impression with a high-flying entrance from the top of Mercedes-Benz Stadium into, 50-yard line to start the game. But he has an amazing...
Oh, he's the mascot for... Damn, dude, look at this video.
What I think is a GoPro video, which is pretty awesome. So I have to give it to him.
He's inverted.
But we can't go without saying mascots are stepping their shit up because of Jackson DeVille.
Yeah.
Jackson DeVille, he's been bungee jumping and skylining or whatever it is. into ziplining into the stadium from the rafters for years since I've been playing.
Lady Gaga did it first, bro.
But still, bro, not with a mascot outfit on, not a full suit.
You
That's
see
what I
Lady
think
Gaga's
about,
fits,
too.
bro?
But I say shout out to Freddie Falcon.
That guy's
and
awesome.
I wonder, for mascots, like, is this upping like their salaries, or is this something like
I've always said this: mascots in maybe mascots in the AFC and NFC South, because I feel like that's the craziest two divisions.
Yep.
They need to get paid more, especially
I wonder if
mascots
they
in
do.
Florida, because they have these shoddy regulations and shit. You know, like it's like working at a carnival where
Yeah.
they're not checking all the nuts and
The
bolts.
Oregon
All of a
Duck
sudden, the
mascot.
Skymasters on the ground. Tragedy. I worry about that with Jackson DeVille. I think he should have a big insurance policy or a bigger salary, and the same thing for this bird.
I agree, but hey, kudos to them. I think it's dope for them and getting their social media platforms up. I wonder how that feels too, like being a star
Yeah.
because you're wearing a mask, kind of like Marshmallow, you know?
Yeah.
Like no one really knows.
It's got to be awesome.
like
And then you just whisper to a chick at the bar, like, I'm the Falcons mascot.
I'm
Sure
Freddie.
you are.
I'm Freddie the Falcon.
Yeah.
That's me.
Check out my plumage.
All right, we gotta. I know what that is. I'm reading the National Geographic Birds of North America.
That's
book
good.
right
Regular
now.
ornithologist.
Yeah. So we've got mentions here. Does somebody have a best flight, Kyle?
Yeah, best flight. Of course, I had a fucking best flight.
Hit me
best
with it.
flight is Tampa Bay, going home after beating the Vikings. You got a new quarterback. Who is using every bit of fiber on those shoulder pads and helmet. The dude's lowering his shoulder to finish plays, getting a gutsy win. Best flight, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
You know, I would have given it to maybe the Dolphins, but going west to east
Ooh.
after 4 p.m., you're not getting back till real late. You'll be on the tarmac.
Hate leaving LA,
You gotta
too.
go straight to Tootsie's or wherever you enjoy your after hours entertainment. And then he goes, ooh. And then
What's Tootsie's?
it's a strip club.
I thought it was chocolate.
It's like multiple levels. It's
Could
like
be, still.
It's like the size of a Toys R Us. You
It's
know,
like
Toys R Us is huge.
FAO.
No.
More like a Build-A-Bear for a strip club, Kyle. Think of that.
Yeah, it's a builder. Anyway,
Guys, I know what Tootsie's is.
okay, all right, good, Kyle. Good, Kyle. So best flight, I'll probably go. I'll agree with you. Tampa. Let's give it to Tampa this week, shall we? It's good when you don't feel like you're supposed to be good, and then you get home pretty early. It's a 1 p.m. It's not the longest flight in the world. It's probably a long flight, but you got home. I'll go worst flight. Is it Jacksonville State, Reed? Is that who it was?
Yeah.
Jacksonville State, Kyle, flew to the wrong airport.
Mm.
They were supposed to play Coastal, and they flew to Charleston.
Oh.
And that reminds me of a certain soundbite from our friend Josh McCown. You want to play that soundbite, Reed?
So I was flying to St. Louis to actually meet up with Craig to do a Porn and Pancakes there and to share my story. And we landed, and when we landed, the boom comes on and the lady comes on and she says, "Welcome to Detroit." And everybody, immediately their heads pop up and everybody's going, "What?" And everybody kind of laughs. She says, "Excuse me, St. Louis," and so we all kind of had a laugh. But what it revealed to me was that that's what porn is a lot like. You go somewhere that you weren't expected to go.
We landed in Detroit. We were supposed to land in St. Louis. He said, "Welcome to Detroit." And then I just looked at my browser history like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
How did I get here?
How did I end up on this page?
Jacksonville State felt the same way.
One time I was in a wedding in Texas and I flew to the wrong large city in Texas.
No way.
Boston.
I flew to
Instead of
Dallas
Boston?
and I called my boy and I was like, "Yo, I'm in Dallas. Where you at?" And he's like, "The wedding's in Houston."
No fucking way.
Yeah.
Texas is a big state too. How'd you get
Huge.
across?
Huge.
How'd you get across?
I-
Horseback? You
I-
hit your ride with
I
one of the
rented a
Texas
car.
Rangers? You rented a
And
car.
I drove to Houston.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, fly on the wall. If you watch college football this weekend, you should have watched App State, North Carolina. Every year, that's a really good game. It's like a Highlander battle. Like they just are, and it's always like 40-34, which I think it might have been this year. But Mac Brown after the game doing an ACC network hit in the middle of the prayer circle for App State, bro. Like they picked the worst spot. I just want to know those guys trying to say there are heavenly fathers. And they're like, Mac, like,
come on, bro.
Your balls are on my shoulder, man. Move over. Like, I'm on a knee here, and you're in the middle of our prayer circle.
Wait, Mac is this the same? This is not the same week. Mac was last week was the one that grabbed by the face to the neck.
Yeah, he's having some older guy moments.
Older white guys, once they get to a certain age, once they get that white hair to a certain age, some of them get to the point where nothing really matters. And
have you seen Charleston White?
Did you see him grab the coach's face last week?
No question.
Like, you get to a point
I brought it up. Do you remember that?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. The old white guy stuff.
You're onto something.
You're onto something, though.
They do. Just think about it.
Mac Brown is having those moments.
A lot of societal pressure.
He's like, hey, can we do an ACC network hit? Yeah, I want to do it right over here in the prayer circle. I mean, he was on the outskirts of the prayer circle. All right. So, fly on the wall, Mac Brown. I want to know what the fuck was going on there. Hollow Man. You know, everybody wants to give it to Tony, right? I've never seen such an ugly performance in prime time to start a season. I mean, I feel bad for the guy. I actually feel bad for the guy. It's really hard as an athlete
deleted his
to come
Twitter
back for something like that. Did he, young Joker?
That's awful.
He deleted his Twitter, but he kept his IG open. And last night, when the Giants were down 26-0, he tweeted at the Giants and said, "Don't be quiet now," or Instagram to the Giants, "Don't be quiet now."
Oh, that's funny. Which actually get another fly on the wall. What the fuck was going on with the Giants' social media team? They went out to dinner during the game.
They tweeted
pre-game, game day, and then after the words, they were like, "Here's the press conference."
They also lost the internet.
Yeah, they lost the internet too. That must have been it. But the real Hollow Man is probably the Tulane quarterback that evidently got drunk and got hurt. And I heard about it, and I put a bunch of money on Ole Miss, and it turns out we had ourselves a ball game there. My son's sitting there. He's like, "Why are we rooting for Ole Miss?" I'm like, "I don't know, son. Find out. Like, you're gonna be going to public school next year if Tulane pulls us out. So root away. You like your friend Harrison? Not gonna see him anymore. You're gonna have to get a job. Remember, I told you I worked masonry in high school. Try elementary school.
You could have some non-fraternity brother names as your friends.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We're not hanging out with Kip and Harrison
Chance
anymore.
And okay.
This is John.
So, anyways, it could be the Tulane QB who almost ruined my Saturday. It was kind of a Josh Allen situation where I thought Josh Allen was hurt. I put a mountain of money on the Vikings, and then he plays. But actually, this kid was hurt, but the backup was aight.
The field looked great.
Oh, it's a Bevel Conway, Kyle. There's just the field of the line. Yeah. So Mel Tucker is probably going to be my Hollow Man. Okay, they have a sexual harassment expert in to talk to the team. Like, hey, survivor. You shouldn't sexually harass people. And he's like, you know what? I think I'll get her number and sexually harass her. Okay?
We gotta wait for all the details on this.
Of course. Wait, how old is Mel Tucker?
He didn't get.
How old is Mel Tucker?
50-something. Yeah.
Interesting.
Mel was our coach.
So here we go.
Mel was our coach.
Yeah.
Older guys.
No, I'm all for waiting for the details, but this amounts to walking up to a cop and be like, "Let me get a brick of cocaine."
It's like being in Dare.
It's
like being in Dare, in middle school, and saying, "You got a joint?"
I'm trying to explain.
But like you're saying, but was it entrapment though?
All right.
Dude, shut the fuck up.
I'm just saying. It just
remember what you asked me about Tua. Have you stopped talking yet? Have you stopped talking yet?
Like you said,
have you stopped talking yet?
I just want to hear more information because it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know how one-sidedly you can know someone's pleasuring themselves on the phone. Like,
I'm jacking off on this call.
But that's what I'm saying, dude. Is that what you would do? Is that like realistically?
Oh. Okay. I'm not coming. I'm here.
Are you there?
We're coming.
I'm gonna come.
We coming. There's actually my linebackers coaches in the room. It's a bad deal, Nate. I don't care what details you're waiting on. He's the Hollow Man.
Entrapment.
But the fact that they did
what?
Because he was talking about like if you're buying drugs from an undercover cop.
No. Entrapment is when the cop comes up to you.
Exactly. It's offering drugs.
But what he did is he walked up to he was in Washington Heights. He's like, "Let me get a brick."
And that's what we think.
And he walked up to the cop on a horse.
Okay.
You know?
I think we covered that good.
Okay, STL Memorial, I'm going to give it to the St. Louis, the LA Rams. Because nobody was watching, but except for the people that were all like, I bet Seattle money line. Wait a second. And Nakua and Tutu Atwell.
I've got Jonathan Grenard and Will Anderson, the Houston Texans,
Nice.
young rushers, getting after it.
Did you like Mel Tucker for Hollow Man, or you think somebody was worse?
I think he's
It's like, actually, I want to talk about a guy who had a much worse
Here's my
weekend.
Hollow Man.
Tony had 3
Here's
drops.
my Hollow Man on a serious note. Chase Claypool for the Chicago Bears doesn't want to be there, seems like. You watch it on film. They're throwing smoke screen out to the right side. He's supposed to be the lead block. There's a difference between getting beat by a defender and being non-present in a play. And when you're non-present in a play, you don't belong on the field.
Kyle, I sent that guy dip.
You don't belong on the field.
Well, I feel like now he needs more dip.
Hollow
We need
Man.
to send him more dip. All right, and then lastly, Bevel Conway. A couple scenes. I mean, whether it was the two-lane field, whether it was like the Nebraska wideout and scored what feels like their only touchdown against Colorado and like ran up that black hill, that black concrete hill.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm 38. I would have taken 3 gather steps and made sure the surface was all right. This guy's just running up this hill in cleats. He's standing there in front of all these fucking Colorado fans, just a sea of buffaloes. And it was just so college football. You turn on the TV, there's some beautiful scene on.
It's like Jon Snow in Battle of the Bastards.
Yeah, there's 2 lanes field. There's I can't decide. So I'm not going to give it to a college team. I'm going to give it to San Francisco, Pittsburgh. Even though you had Packers, Bears. By the way, lightning struck the NC State Jumbotron. I found this out. When lightning hits your car or your Jumbotron, fries the electronics. It's actually, you're not probably going to be okay. I was driving through a lightning storm the other night, and I asked somebody online, people online, have you been hit by lightning in your car, and how did that go? Most people were like, would not recommend. But the whole thing is when your car gets hit by lightning, it turns off the lights, everything, the brakes, steering. I didn't know that.
It fries.
I'm gonna stop driving during lightning storms.
You're not supposed to.
I went to a
wrong.
Luke Combs concert in Charlotte, North Carolina, the night that there was a big lightning storm last month, and Lainey Wilson opened up for him, who I love. Lainey Wilson's great artist, and she went out. It was supposed to be, a plugged concert with big speakers and electric guitars. She played unplugged because their van got struck by lightning.
So all their electrical got fried.
So it
was the same thing with the NC
Panther
State scoreboard, which is a good thing because they get their asses kicked by Notre Dame.
Eric Clapton acoustic.
Bevel Conway.
I've got 2. First, the pregame sights, scenes, and sounds at Soldier Field before Week 1. Bears Packers. They have a new surface at Soldier. It looks awesome. And
New fescue.
And the other one is the first responder hats on Daboll and McCarthy. I thought it's a real cool touch there.
That's good. I got a first response. This is my asshole of the week. It goes to my friend Arian Foster. Or I thought we were friends. No, we're friends. Everything's good. But here's a clip from macro dosing.
I would argue that I've had the best fantasy stats in your league.
Chris Long, if it counted defensive stats, Chris Long might have you beat.
He would not have me beat.
On longevity, you think who
I
is
had
a better
50-point game, B? Like, what are you talking about?
But who is a better player?
No disrespect to Chris, but me.
Okay, I imagine he's
It's really not even
for
that
how
close.
long?
Yeah, that's
for a
true.
couple years, Arian.
Would you rather have a all pro player for 3 or 4 years or a very average? Hold on. Was Chris Long? No, let me stop. Y'all see how I gotta be pinning up against me. That's why
this is. You know what?
I think he would tell you that he was like a very solid player in the NFL, and I would.
Don't
agree
y'all
with
know-
How many Walter Payton Man of the Year awards did you get, Arian?
I will never win that award. Nice. Hold on. Chris Long was nice, bro. Don't get me wrong, bro. Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? He was nice, you know what I'm saying? But I think there's levels. I do think there's levels. I think I was a high caliber player. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with that.
I prepared a statement in response to this clip.
So you seen the clip? Or who hit you up first where they were like, you got to see this?
I checked my mentions.
Okay.
And it was one of those, Chris, you're going to respond, which is, I hate those because I'm like, this is going to be good, whatever it is.
Or did you see this? It's like,
I watched it once, and I'll get there. This is a statement. At 7:41 p.m. Friday night, as I smoked pot in my parked car before dinner at the dairy market, this video came to my attention. I slowly climbed out of my body bag and collected my thoughts. The conversation snuck under the radar, thankfully, due to macrodosing's tight-knit but small online community. But you can imagine if it had happened on a show with a bigger reach, like Bussin' with the Boys or the Mark Titus Show, for instance. What the fuck, man? I thought about calling his music average, even though I did kind of enjoy it. He then might argue that music is subjective, unlike football, a game evaluated in objectivity thanks to numbers. Arian Foster is easily the better player. Cross-positional comparisons, Kyle, they can be difficult due to a number of factors, but this was kind of an easy one. Guy was a stud. A 4-time 1,000-yard rusher, he led the league in 2010, rushing for over 1,600 yards or 4,800 feet. Almost a mile of rushing, Kyle. That's a lot of rushing.
I can run a mile in 9 minutes.
I can run in 7.
Pretty average. Seems average to me.
He was first in the league one
Took him
year.
a year?
He was 5th in the league one year. He was 6th in the league another year. He was 6th in the league another year. And I respect Arian. I've enjoyed our interactions. He's been on the show. He's a friend of the program. I also have great respect for average football players in the NFL. I know how hard it is, the NFL. It's poorly written. But just as his production makes him elite, mine exempts me from the designation of average. At 10:56 p.m. upon returning home, Arian was contacted via text message. From 10:56 to 11:02 p.m., I wondered if he changed phone numbers, which would be awkward as fuck, because the whole fucking text was just stats.
Some guy in Texas gets a text from you.
Yeah. And at 11:02, Arian responded, "We had a great conversation, including a resolution. As suspected, he was under the influence of some sort of drugs and was gassed up, as he called it, and we easily resolved the issue. I went as far as saying I would make an appearance on macrodosing to have some fun with it, but I don't go on average podcasts. Now, Arian and I are good. I want everybody to know that. We're still boys. PFT, you're a fucking asshole. This is the most asshole thing you've ever done to me, trying to turn two guys against each other. And Arian and I are great. Well, our friendship might never be the same, but we're cool. So I just wanted to give Asshole of the Week to Arian Foster, who's smoking crack out there, okay? He must be smoking crack. And I had to tell him that. I had to text him on the side, and we're good now. But I was like, Jesus Christ, man, I'm just minding my fucking business. Throwing the A word around, bro.
There's certain things that we have to avoid, and it doesn't take a lot of effort to do so in the media. I'm serious.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of this as well when I'm talking about either guys that I've played with that I know well, or I know them as players, and you can get out ahead of your skis sometimes, and it's always hard to backtrack out of the woods when you're ahead of your skis.
It's you know what it is? It's
Just be safe. Stay on the fucking...
It's a good lesson for me, because I've thrown words around about guys where I don't know their career. Obviously, like, to me, listen, there's a lot between elite, which was what Arian Foster was, and average. There are like tons of adjectives you could use. Good, very good, great, whatever. Probably wasn't great for very long at all, but I had a couple great years. But like, put me in the G word range next time you bring up my name, okay? Because average, anything but.
You have to be careful about the buzzwords you use with certain things. It's funny, the unrelated, like I get mad at Matt whenever he says a player sucks, and
because no player sucks in the
exactly.
NFL.
And I'm just like, yo, like, as a player, bro, like, no one sucks. If they're in the league, if they're at the show, at the dance, they don't suck. They might not be as good as everyone on the team, but they don't suck.
It's like I told him, I said, you just talk bad about all like 95% of your teammates, because I guarantee if I played for the Texans for 7-8 years, you know, I know for a fact, did the math, you know, it's just Captain America who had more buckets than me over the time that he was in Houston with the Texans. So, you know, unless you're going to call your buddies on the phone and say you're all average because I called Chris Long average, be my guest. But, you know, the guys up front there were not. There were some good players there. So I just don't like the word average. So I got that off my chest. But I'm not going to fucking macrodosing's little, whatever frat boy runs that account was like, hey, you want to come on the show and do the Barstool thing where we do this infighting thing? And I'm not even with the company, so I'm not coming on your fucking show. They were like, you want to come on the show, Chris? They thought it'd be like a good, fun thing. And I'm like, yeah, judging by the interactions, I mean, there's like 18 impressions on this tweet. I don't think I'm coming on the show, guys. You know, you're not going to be able to parlay this into a fun appearance. Okay? PFT. I appreciate you, big, what's his name?
Big T.
Big T. We both got orange hats. He was like,
I like Big T.
Foster was like, oh, I was elite, all this stuff. You know, I was a better player. And Big T goes, but for longer? Love it, man. All right. That's it. Score prediction for Monday night. Anybody?
I am going to say 31-28 Jets.
I'm gonna go 27-24 Jets.
I'm gonna go motherfucking 28-34. I don't even know how we would get there.
That's backwards. Hey, y'all have a good one.